Testing. There we are. Welcome in, chat. Welcome in. We are live. The REMINGTOM podcast is here, and we got to pivot tonight's plans. And good, the bad, and we never want to be afraid, of course, to celebrate life here on the REMINGTOM pod. Celebrate the pat on the back, the job well done. And again, fortunately, unfortunately, tonight is one of those scenarios. Today, we were, of course, getting off work. Just a couple minutes, scroll through Instagram. Just get ready, waiting for the pizza to cook in the oven, and it's like, wait a second, what's going on here? We RIP legend today, Chad. It is what it is. I guess we didn't see any of the information in terms of I guess I don't know, like, where his health has been at, things along those lines. What necessarily caused word, all that stuff. Again, it's more, you see the news, you go, oh, life well lived, and then just kind of make sure to just I guess, what do? Keep in your thoughts if you're just hanging out like us. But, or, again, throw on a movie or two. And remember, if we rent any Robert Redford movies, does his family get the money, Chad? I don't know. I guess we have to look and see what the situation on that would be. But regardless, we just got to say, again, shout out, of course, the legendary career of one of the great, you would say, Hollywood names as well, too, in Robert Redford. I mean, tonight, of course, the movie that we're watching, it's going to be the first time that, we actually ever watched this one. He's one of those guys that, again, more of a name value, like a Hollywood presence, and I would say maybe specifically some of his movies have, movies like The Natural and stuff. Again, he has hit movies that just kind of will just get watched in terms of the average sort of, I guess, we don't want to say, again, like the average American movie sort of rotation or life cycle or whatever that is. But again, there's movies that are obviously more likely than not at least going to be watched once or heard about, or references made to that you're familiar with. Again, it's like connected to that in some ways. So obviously he's in some of those projects, and again, him as just a Hollywood figure, I think he is pretty legendary. Obviously a legendary, I mean, it is what it is, Ted, just a legendary good looking guy. I would say, I guess, what exactly is the peak of his power years? Because, again, the movie that we're watching is, from the 70s. He has a good run. I mean, the movie that I would say, obviously with, not obviously, but, the movie with him and Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson is in the 90s as well, too. So his career did span quite a bit. I mean, Captain America's in the 20 teens. So, I mean, obviously he was cooking up on something all the way throughout. But I guess I don't know if it's like, okay, I guess maybe the 80s as well. I guess I don't know how, it just depends on, are you looking at like the Outsiders 80s, the Michael Douglas 80s? I guess, there's different versions of it as well. But, and tonight will be interesting as well, because again, like in A Decent Proposal in the 90s, he's basically just playing Redford at that point. He's just like, let's be a hot, charming guy that, just basically almost always gets what he wants in that movie. Hey, it is, it is. I guess, do we have to pull up the Wikipedia and start going through the set stories and things like that? I don't know, Chad. It is what it is. I think we just got to say, we'll just watch the movies of the ones that turned out good. Like, I guess, I don't know if he did anything too crazy as well. I think, again, he's a legendary good-looking guy. So I think he definitely, and the reason that, he's so good in that, at times in that Decent Proposal movie is because he has to carry himself with that kind of moxie. I think he definitely carried himself like that a lot. So I don't know if again, maybe at times it's like again, you're just like, well, I guess we can't all be that good looking, so it's more our fault, probably just being jealous of him. But I guess again, a movie career, of course, well selected, good at pick roles. I guess sometimes if we're comparing, of course, actors to athletes, for the careers and the movies being like kind of a season, or the years being kind of a season, whatever. But again, it's almost like there's like a GM athlete combo, because you got to be able to sort of scout out scripts as well too, in a in some type of way. But I guess regardless, the fact is, again, of course, we gotta honor the legendary performances of one of the great actors in of course, Robert Redford as well. So we're going to watch the movie here in a second. I guess tonight was supposed to be the Sicario anniversary, chat. Hey, it is what it is. But, I guess we'll just have to save it for another day. So we'll, 3 Days of the Condor, if we're sticking to our anniversary, I think it's not too far off as well, too. But we're gonna start with. I was looking up like an article for like just ranking his best performances because I wanted to see again. I haven't necessarily like seen all of his movies, so I just wanted to see in terms of his individual like again performances in the movies themselves, not necessarily just like what are his best movies. I wanted to see what the people were, what are the people saying, and I forget was it maybe it was IndieWire or something. I don't know, one of those like blog things that we clicked on at the first post that came up was saying that his best performance was in this TV show. I guess was it listed chronologically? It might have been chronologically as well. I guess I don't know, but it was ranking it amongst his best performances as well. So did I say just this TV show? It's not just a TV show. It's of course the old school Twilight Zone, and a show that fortunately we are familiar with. I guess that's why we were interested enough to throw it on as well too. Did you guys hear the music queued up in the back? It's a little too loud. Hey yo, chat. We might get some copyright issues here. I guess we'll have to tone it back just a little bit. Okay, but regardless, you do get the scene has been set. You do get it. It is the Twilight Zone, and the premise for this one I'm already bought in on as well because it was some old lady who is apparently fought off death for like 1,000 years. And then Robert Redford shows up. Hey, yo, Chad. She's just, I guess willing to give it all up for Robert Redford. We'll just have to see where this goes. But this is the premise of a Twilight Zone episode that I haven't seen every Twilight Zone episode. It is a show that there was a lot of older shows in the rotation for us growing up. And this is definitely one that was on a little bit. It was like the classic TV show channel that would run the shows. Because I guess we did make no mistake, we had some DVD box sets. But of course there is the Classics channel, and the Twilight Zone itself would play a little bit later. Sometimes we were allowed to stay up, so we didn't always get to necessarily watch it. But hey, yo, chat, you forget how good it is. I mean, it's already creepy. We were watching The Exorcist 3, of course, not too long ago, and we're watching it here on the live stream. And I mean, this is already about as tense as anything that's been popped up in The Exorcist 3. So, I don't know, Robert Redford. I guess again we could go through the career. I don't know exactly how many like horror type stuff he played in. Is Twilight Zone necessarily horror? More so than it's the psychological sort of tension, whatever. But there's another one that I did see that is actually one of the ones that really did stand out. It's really good. It's some. Again, like two like middle-aged kind of guys. I forget what the general premise of the episode is, but I just remember spoiler alert for some random Twilight Zone episode, but the end of the episode, it turns out this guy is also like one of the middle-aged guys is like super old, and something happens and he just like ages like 2,000 years like really really quick, and then just like deteriorates into sand, and it's pretty crazy. So I don't know if that's what the sort of twist is on that, because again, reading the premise, they kind of lay it out as well too, that I guess she's fighting off death. That's gonna of course probably be a conversation that she has with Robert Redford at some point in a couple minutes here when he shows up as well. It did say something about him getting wounded, so you hear the gunshots going off, and I guess he will be stumbling in looking for some help, maybe seeing what's going on. So shout out again, just so this will be I don't know if this is like the full timeline for Robert Redford's career here. Again, just maybe one episode of one movie, but at least some, because I guess for us, did we say we were familiar with him in the 90s? I guess we were saying for Robert Redford movies, but if we were actually being realistic about when the first time we actually saw Robert Redford on screen was, I mean, you could just tell by looking at us, of course it's going to be in the Captain America movies. It is what it is. I feel like, that just reintroduced him to, I guess, again, there's some sports movies and stuff as well, too, that he is involved in. But, of course, that is definitely a prominent role for him in terms of, a different phase of Robert Redford's career as well, too, instead of, like, going back in time and watching classic movies, new movies on screen, him being introduced to those type of audiences. But again, that would be more, the decent proposal would be more of like an actual, Robert Redford role. Though in Winter Soldier, again, I guess spoiler alert, he is, of course, I guess, do we have to check the box office for that one? That one's still popular. It's been out a while now, so I feel like a lot of people have seen it. but it is still a little. It's probably B tier most viewed, not obviously A tier quality, but still probably like a B tier most viewed Marvel movie. But anyway, spoiler alert for it. He does of course end up being the bad guy in that movie, so it's not like he's just a cameo sort of part. Okay, it's a little of course limited screen time compared to some of the I don't know if his runtime compared to like Scarlett Johansson's is similar, but he is of course at least integral to the plot in some type of way. So it does make it at least again important for his career, where you can look at it and go, okay, that's a later role that again he is doing something in that movie. He is really good in that movie as well too. He's again a little bit older at that point. Obviously, Robert Redford's a good looking guy at any point in his career, but he's not necessarily playing those type of parts at the time that he's playing Alexander Pierce. But regardless, you still have to have, he still is able to like that way he carries himself is able to try to kind of translate into that old school politician as well too in a pretty good way. And again, that part is pretty fun. There are some good slimy politicians in the MCU, chat. Hey, you get, I guess that movie specifically, of course, you have Redford as, I guess I forget exactly what is he a made-up title, or is he just the Secretary of Defense or something like that? Or has he got some, Marvel attached? Is he attached with the Marvel group or the actual, like, as some government title? I forget. But I'm pretty sure Gary Shandling's a senator in that movie. Yeah, he's a senator or congressman or something like that. But he's also, of course, got a couple of great lines in that movie as well, too. And then there is the guy that gets thrown out the car. I think he's more an assistant. Jasper Sitwell. Yeah, there we go. He is, I think he's maybe just part of Shandling's team more so than actually like an elected official. I don't know if people are electing Jasper Sitwell to office, but Gary Shandling maybe, and I mean Robert Redford definitely. But I guess again, Robert is secretary. Is that an appointed one? So Redford appointed. I mean, it would make him making some friends, of course, would make sense. But if you were thinking about, I guess it would seem like Shandling maybe would need to get more appointed or whatever character he'd be playing versus Redford maybe would be able to collect a little bit of a vote. I don't know how that would work, but regardless, I guess again that part is a fun part as well. So I can't believe that I didn't. Again, I feel like I've seen a good majority of the Twilight Zone episodes. It's not like I guess they do have quite a bit, because of course back in the day, and even still like in the 90s and stuff, some of the sitcoms like Friends and stuff has 20 plus episode seasons, so there's a lot of episodes there, but it's not like the Twilight Zone is necessarily like bloated with episodes. It's still a pretty nicely curated sort of a nice selection of stories there, but enough that I guess again, not even knowing that he was in one was nice surprise as well too. Or we just watched it and it's like, hey young Robert Redford, just we didn't realize it as well. I mean, make no mistake, not necessarily I mean, it's still the Alexander Pierce, you can see it at the end of the day, but maybe if you don't know, I don't know if those are the only two things that you're watching, then maybe then maybe of course it wouldn't necessarily be as standout-ish as well too. But the old lady in this episode as well, I'm assuming she's pretty iconic. I don't know if we have to look this one up. And with the Twilight Zone, they always, I guess, I don't want to say they always had like an iconic director on the episodes. I know Serling, of course, was more than just like a host for that. I don't know exactly how much creative input he had in and out of the series, but you do, of course, have to give him credit for what they were able to accomplish over there as well. So let's see here. Twilight Zone the movie, Twilight Zone accident. Wait a second, chat. Ayo, shouldn't be this difficult to find the TV show. Oh, The Twilight Zone. Okay, it is what it is. How many episodes in general? Five seasons, 156. Okay, 156 is a little bit. Season 4, you got some hour-long episodes as well too. That does get a little bit a little bit bloated, I guess, in the end. But this is, I guess, season 3. I want to say maybe, are we on 16 here? Let's see. Nothing in the Dark. Lamont Johnson. Do we have him directing? I guess George Clayton Johnson is... Oh, Chet! George Clayton Johnson. Hey, yo. Oh, the novel Logan's Run. Hey, yo, is that the movie that became, or no, what am I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking of Logan Lucky, chat. Hey, yo, I'm like, is that the race car movie? But I think Logan's Run is also a movie. Here, wait, let's double check that real quick. Oh, 76. Yeah, okay, so the novel was 67. So 76 would make sense. Okay, wait, who's in this? Let's see here. Starring Michael York, Jenny Agutter, Richard Jordan, Roscoe Lee Brown. I want to say this movie is in our watch list as well too, because this cover definitely looks familiar as well too. This Logan's Run font with the background, like it's just like a Denver Nuggets logo, but with Logan's Run as the title. I don't know, but it definitely seems familiar. I guess we could, do we fact check our own watch list and double check? I don't know, but yeah, I guess maybe if not, we'll just have to add it in just because. But regardless, I guess he is the the writer on this episode. So I guess we don't want to see, the opening narration. Okay, as I say, we don't want to see, I don't know what's going on here, so we don't want to spoil it for ourselves. But they're going to have some, of course, conversation that's going to be philosophical and crazy and display their acting. So we also, to keep us entertained, well, I guess, obviously the Twilight Zone is very entertaining. Hey, yo, chat, are we having technical difficulties? Ooh, maybe a little bit. Okay, Wi-Fi running low right now. IT, check the internet. Hey, yo, we got some weak signal running right now. I guess we lost our WNBA game, chat. I don't know. The Twilight Zone's still going strong. I don't know if that says something about the Twilight Zone, but yeah, we do. We're supposed to also have WNBA on in the background as well. So Fever versus Dream in the playoffs. I want to say the Fever are, trying to avoid elimination here. Best of 5, best of 3, best of 5. I don't know. What are the rules, chat? Hey, yo, I don't know. But I want to say, best of 3 for the first round. So, 2 and out for the couple playoffs here. The Aces are on potential to move on to the second round against the Storm tonight as well too. If they win, the Aces are up 1-0. But again, the Fever without Indiana Clark. Ayo, are we thinking Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones? Ayo, shout out. Well, the Fever without Caitlin Clark, of course. I think if you said them going second round of the playoffs without Caitlin Clark, be a pretty successful season. They are going in, of course, as the underdog team. I mean, I'm sure this is definitely a conversation, but do you have to have games 1? I guess you can't have games 1 and 2 and then game 3 on the road, because that gives the elimination game to the road team. But still, that is obviously pretty clutch. Going home for that winner go home game is pretty nice, because again, that game 1 isn't necessarily winner go home. It is really important and really tone setting. But regardless, game 2 is definitely on a little bit of a, just a little bit of a different thing. So I think these teams, I don't know if we go regular season records. I know the Dream were up there 30-plus wins. So, they were definitely top tier, 3 seed for sure. And do the Fever have the Stranger Things jerseys on, chat? Hey, yo. I mean, you got to shout out, of course, the promo. And I guess they are pretty cool. But in the playoffs, I know that's what the Cavs did, right, when they won their title. So I don't know if that's just kind of the thing that everybody copies at this point. But I guess it is working for him, chat. Ayo, they're up by 9 right now, 38-29. It does look like Aaliyah Boston is having a little bit of success as well, too. I don't know if her numbers were great in the last game. So a bounce back performance anyways. Again, just good performances, good vibes, just them making the playoffs and being this competitive, I think is fun as well. And again, if Caitlin Clark is healthy, they're going to be there, right? So, I mean, we don't necessarily just lock that in. Don't take it for granted. You got to make the pushes as much as you can year to year. But the Dream are a good, like we're saying, a good team this year, and they have that sort of some veterans. I mean, I guess the veterans and young players, like we're saying, the Fever have Aaliyah Boston with some veterans surrounding her as well, too. But between Howard and, like Griner and some of the fun talent that they have there, it is of course, like we're saying, a good regular season team, but would be a fun team to, I think, see a playoff push. with some of these names as well too, because with the Aces being a little, they're definitely bounced back this year in the regular season. Once we, of course, just were like, oh, maybe this is not the regular season for them and start tuning out, then, they just go on this run. I think they were saying they're nearing a win streak for WNBA in general. So I don't know if that just puts them on due for a loss tonight. We'll see if they're able to power through. And, I guess the Liberty not necessarily being record-wise the same team. And is Brianna Stewart, but I was seeing on the TV there's something, maybe she was like a game time decision. That's what it was. I don't know if she's like, super injured, whatever, but at least, there's some question marks there about the stats for health. So I don't know if they're locked in as sort of the top juggernaut type team. Like the way they're, I guess in the regular season would have been the Link probably. That would have been that in terms of the record. And again, they are a little bit, this would be their first season, I guess, making, a finals, right, sort of ascending to that level of, winning and being champions with Collier at the forefront. So the opportunity to add some new sort of champion type faces into the mix could be, I guess, fun for any league and interesting to see who's going to ascend. But, I guess, again, we were curious to see if it was just going to be those top teams. In chat, this guy just bursted through the door and knocked the old lady down. Hey, yo. I don't know if she's dead. I guess that's the intro track. Or, oh, no, wait a second. I guess these episodes are shorter than you think, chat. It is what it is. You're flying through. And I guess we're not necessarily watching commercials as well. So, are we going to be binging the Twilight Zone? Who knows? Okay, she's woken up. She was just unconscious. It's always a close call when you're, 1,000+ years old. The lady is actually like the villain of the episode, and she's going to turn on these guys at some point. Would seem a little tough for the Twilight Zone. I don't know if this is what they're going for, but I think, of course, Robert Redford being the Grim Reaper was the thing that maybe was the twist. So we'll have to see. I don't know, again, if this is like a final destination. She lets him in the house, and that's just once he's in the house, it's over, or if she has to, like, commit in some final way, and sort of be ready. I guess we were not paying attention to necessarily say how she avoided death all of this time. And I don't remember exactly, again, how the other guy avoided. I wish I remember what that one was called. But, again, if we saw something, picture or something about that one. But it's definitely not that one. To Serve Man, of course. I mean, iconic, where the aliens go to Earth and, with the cookbook and all that stuff. 4 o'clock. I mean, of course, again, with the ones that we've seen, I feel like we've gotten lucky and seen a lot of the iconic ones. So I don't know if this one, again, I guess you don't hear people like, oh, the Robert Redford episode of the Twilight Zone. But that is, again, another fun part of this show. And another fun reason why we got into one of the other shows we started watching was, and I think we mentioned this as well too on a recent live stream, we've just been ripping through the old Columbos like crazy, chat. Ayo, perfect background material. Columbo, shout out Peter Falk. But also, you just get Peter Falk with these guest stars, and these guest stars just get to go on. And sometimes there's almost a little, like, Columbo was obviously, everybody loved, critics and stuff, everybody loved Columbo. But it does feel like the guest stars were a little bit free to really go for it in some of these episodes as well, too. And again, they are pushing, like, movie-ish length, being almost 90 minutes. So, you get some runtime. And the villains, a lot of time are, it's really them versus, like, you get a lot of time with the actors to be able to, give good performances. Obviously, the one we were referencing recently was Donald Pleasance. Shout out to him. But, Jack Cass, of course, iconic. I think that's the name. He's the iconic, one of the more iconic Columbo villains, specifically, appearing multiple times. Watched a bunch of those episodes as well, too. But the guest star sort of, I don't know if Columbo is technically an anthology series. I guess I don't know what the technical term is here. Ayo chat, Remler in Hollywood terms. I guess a written series that presents a different story and a different set of characters in each different episode or season. So I guess if Columbo doesn't present his different set of character, if Columbo's like the only main character, the only through line character, then does that count? I guess we could see what it says. But of course, he is the star guy. So you could see that being kind of a technicality. But again, different guest villains. It's not like there's like I don't think there's like a consistent police force and stuff. Again, he's in the department or whatever. But yeah, I guess his wife is the only other, character that's brought up about as much as Columbo. Ayo, and she's not even seen in the show. So I don't, is that problematic? Is that something, if we bring the show back, chat, do we have to fix that? But again, it's not like he's literally the only recurring character throughout. So it just says is an American crime drama television series. But I don't know. I feel like it kind of borders the line between anthology and not. But regardless, I guess, Twilight Zone is anthology. But they also do have the, repeating stars as well too. I guess I don't know if they have, anybody as famous as like this is the Jack Cassidy of Twilight Zone. But I feel like there is people that have appeared in multiple episodes. So, oh yeah, chat, I think it was Redford. Oh, chat. Redford's gonna get her? Hey, yo. He's a sneaky guy. He just tricked her. I guess, I don't know if she should have seen that, but, I mean, she's just trying to help chat. I mean, I feel like that's a dirty move. I don't know if you can get somebody on, being nice like that, but I feel like Mr. Death maybe is not necessarily worried about that. I don't know. I guess in some ways, is he saying he did talk her into it? That does seem like a little crazy. I don't know. I mean, I guess, it doesn't count if it's Robert Redford as well, too. She's like, well, you can talk me into anything. It's Robert Redford. But regardless, I guess, you pull that, after 1,000 years, you really gotta, this is like the final form, chat. He's like, okay, I gotta look like Robert Redford to finally get this lady. I guess we still don't even know what her name was, Gladys something, if we were looking at that right. Oh, we went back too far. Wait a second. Where were we at? Season 3, episode 16, Nothing in the Dark. Yeah, shout out Gladys Cooper. I guess R.G. Arm, the First World War. She managed the Playhouse Theater from 1917 to 1934. Wait a second, when did this episode drop, Chad? Hey, yo. I guess, this is like 50s or whatever, and she's a little bit older. Wait, did he just say mother? So did she not know about her? I guess, we will go to the story. Maybe, she just the dad not look like Robert Redford, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. But, regardless, it does look like Robert Redford is going to win the day, Chad. So, it started in Twilight Zone. It goes all the way to Indecent Proposal. The only guy that's able to stop him at some point is, the next, it's got to be Chris Evans, Chad, of course. The only guy that could stop Robert Redford is Chris Evans. But, and, Robert Redford was definitely, not lacking in terms of, like, physique or whatever. But just, of course, the look of a sort of a I guess a hot guy from back in the day. But again, I feel like he's say like a hot guy, and I'm not saying it's more like a hot guy, and I'm not saying it's more like a young guy, because I guess anybody can be a hot person. But I guess there is a sort of a handsome suaveness that a guy married himself with as well. And I guess, again, in the 80s and stuff, if you got the younger guys, I don't know if like Costner goes into the, is Costner just like a straight up hot guy, or is he like a James Bond type? I don't know, is Bond a little too strong? But you got what we're saying. There's different degrees to it. It feels like Tom Cruise is a little bit more at his peak, so sort of the boyish hotness. It's like, is there like kind of a, do you want to say frat boy vibe to it? Because again, I guess Robert Redford could be good looking in any scenario. Hey, yo, Chad. But there's like a suit and tie sort of handsomeness to the guys back in the day. Speaking of suit and tie, shout out to Rod Serling as well too. Top 10 voice of all time, Chad. I don't know if we do voice rankings. I guess Robert Redford, good voice as well too. Just good speaking voice, commanding presence. So yeah, great start to the career. I don't know where this falls in terms of his performances as well too. again, he's acting across from somebody that was acting before World War One. So at this point, anything's on the table for when he could have started his career. Okay, 59, I guess, is saying when he started. So early on roles. I guess when was he born? Shout out, 1936, August 18th, 1936. So yeah, early, on getting some roles. I'm sure the potential was definitely seen early, chat. Hey yo, I'm sure it did not see some casting directors did not take them long to be like, yeah, you know what, Robert Redford could probably be a movie star. Start in Western Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid alongside Paul Newman, chat. I mean, they're like, we need to cast a good-looking guy next to Paul Newman. I guess it's just gonna be Robert Redford. But again, Paul Newman and Robert Redford, chat. I mean, you can't put a guy in a suit like this. I mean, again, I'm sure the photo cover shoots of, Hemsworth in a suit are out there, and I mean, make no mistake, again, The Rock in a suit looks fine. I mean, suits are just timeless pieces, of course, of fashion. But there is they were carrying back in the day. Maybe it's just the fashion outside of suits were kind of tough because, I mean, who even didn't wear a suit in a show or a movie like this as well too? It's like these guys that are like this. I don't even know what this episode premise is at this point. They may be like is this like an alien? Oh, chat. Hey yo, I guess there's some kind of world destruction right here. I don't know, this episode might be too relevant. We might have to quickly pivot over to speaking of relevancy, I don't know, maybe the Robert Redford one is relevant as well too, guys. I know Condor is one of those iconic, we were just doing Psycho, I guess, a couple live streams ago, so I don't know if this is sort of like OG month for, I guess if we do the Sicario one next, and that's not necessarily an OG, but, that is a sort of, I guess people talk about that as a foundational, I guess is the word, foundational movie for those type of political spy actiony type movies. A French Connection, I think, is 75 as well too. So I don't know if this is again sort of the start into some of that stuff. But yeah, shout out Paul Newman, chat. I guess great movies, great pasta sauce. It's all great, chat. But Great Gatsby, of course, for our guy Redford. I mean, the only guys to play Gatsby, Redford and DiCaprio. I don't know if that's like one of those Hollywood titles, like getting Bond or Spider-Man, but maybe it should be, chat. I don't know. I guess maybe if we had a third Gatsby. When was I guess the Great Gatsby was in what, 14 maybe? I want to. What year was that movie? I guess the one that Redford did, of course, not 2014. Great Gatsby 2013 is the Leo film. Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty new, but with the way I guess it's been a decade, chat. Time to fire it back up. I don't know. Can we just recast it? Can we just run it back with the same cast? Honestly, Leo, Toby, Carey Mulligan, Joel Edgerton, Elsa Fisher, Jason Clarke, and Elizabeth Debicki. I mean, chat, run it back again with Elizabeth Debicki. We just watched Tenet. Shout out. She's at the peak of her powers right now. So Leo's still cooking with this new movie that's about to drop. So I guess Leo playing the Great Gatsby twice would be interesting as well. I don't know if you have to update the Great Gatsby's where he's at in his. I guess but I'm gonna have to kind of rework it to update it for. Well, I guess where Leo's at, maybe more so than where Gatsby's at. But yeah, I don't know if we have to start considering that as sort of a Hollywood landmark role if they do bring that back, because that does seem like a movie that you could make every once in a while. The stylistic similarities, unless it's the ones that you like. It's like these action movies that we love. It's like make those as similar as possible, within the rest of it be original, whatever. But with the sort of just movie stars and party aspect, again, maybe you need a lot of stars or I don't know, whatever. But it does seem like a film where it's like just hang out with a bunch of movie stars for a while and let them be in that sort of I guess what is that, like 20s era that it's set in. I don't know. We have to double check here and see. I guess the book was written in 25. So was he writing it about the current day, chat? Hey, yo. But yeah, let's get this one fired up. This is available on MGM Plus. I guess for those that have MGM Plus. But otherwise, you have to rent it. So, normally we just kind of hope. I guess we can cross our fingers and hope that the anniversary and the streaming stuff lines up. So hopefully Peacock doesn't get rid of Sicario in the next couple of days, and we, and then we lose that opportunity. But I figured, again, to honor, of course, a legend, if we do have to rent one, then this would be the occasion for it. So I don't know, YouTube, step up, free with ads, 3 Days of the Condor to honor the guy. Maybe just any of the Redfords as well too. Maybe just like a week, just have like the Redford collection, chat. I don't know. Tubi, have like the Redford collection on there, and just put a bunch of movies where we can just again celebrate the life of a classic guy. So wait a second, where's this at, chat? We've got Notorious and Deja Vu saved, but apparently, the movie we just rented, we can't find it. Oh, chat, is this how they get you? I mean, they already got us. Why do they have to hide the movie? Okay, here we go. Let's get this fired up. And again, the anniversaries, the timing of this movie in general, it is of course a good time to, I guess, for those that have visited it to revisit, or to again just, I guess, visit the movie in honor of it being released soon. But also, like we were saying, our guy Redford. But also, it's like, if we had to sort of deviate again from the anniversary of sort of scheduling of it all and just pick a random Redford to watch, what's the sort of supporting cast we want to watch as well too? And I guess, it's like, okay, well, I guess if this one's Faye Dunaway, maybe regardless of the year, we would have just thrown this one on as well too. Chad, I don't know if 2025 is, I don't know if we call it, Faye Dunaway year on the REMINGTOM pod, but make no mistake, there's been some movies that are crazy in the rotation right now. Ooh, Halliburton going crazy in the third quarter. The Fever are up 8. Don't forget, chat, 45-37 as the third quarter hits about 3.5 minutes here. So we'll see if they're able to continue strong through the fourth quarter. But yeah, and there was a couple other supporting cast guys that seemed fun as well too in this movie. So here we go. Oh, Max von Sydow? Is that how you say the name? I just want to call him Max von Shadow, but I guess Max von Sydow. Speaking of the Exorcist movies that we were just watching, I believe he is again, we watched number 3. Ayo, why not, chat? But I think he might be the first one. So yeah, of course the first one, I guess, listed right up there for his star roles. This one as well too. Flash Gordon, Conan the Barbarian, a couple of James Bonds, Dune, Minority Report, Shutter Island, classic actor, shout out. But of course, a stacked cast. I guess The Exorcist would have already happened at this point, so he would have been established there. But here we didn't actually see what the timeline was for some of these Redford movies. So here, let's take a quick look and see what we got. That Butch Cassidy, I guess, was early on in the, where's that? Oh, 69. Okay, so yeah, that's right. 60, I guess, was his first role. Tall Story, a romantic comedy film directed by, starring Anthony Perkins and Jane Fonda. Hey, yo, a much different movie, Chad, but Jane Fonda, Anthony Perkins. It just says basketball player. So I don't know if basketball is even in this. I guess it's in the movie. I don't know how important it is to this movie. Based on the novel Homecoming Game, which is based of a successful Broadway play, the film is considerable departure, I guess. Blah, 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 blah. It says it's a considerable departure from this movie that won Academy Awards. Does that mean this movie is not good? I don't know. But I don't know if that's one we have to add into the mix there. But that seems more like, kind of working his way up a little bit as well, too. So, candidate under his belt at this point. The Sting under his belt. Again, him and Newman reworking together. And Gatsby the year before as well. So again, I don't know. I guess the candidate, if he is, the lead guy in that movie, I don't know if that's a movie that here. Wait, like let's see what the budget for this movie would have been. Ooh, 1.6, and it only made 2.5. So I guess it's more of a maybe more of a beloved rewatch than sort of a classic project. So wait, let's see what we got here for 3 Days of the Condor. 7.8 budget, and then it made 41 and a half at the box office. So obviously, much more successful, a little bit more power behind it. I guess, again, with the cast and stuff as well, too, that would make sense. And then you have All the President's Men in 76. So that's a pretty good, 3 year. You have Gatsby, Condor, and President's Men in terms of roles. I guess A Bridge Too Far in 77. I don't know. Maybe this one was awarded and stuff. Richard Attenborough directed. Okay, you gotta assume it's got some quality to it. But yeah, might be like we were saying. I don't know. We were looking for sort of when is he at the what's like the hottest stretch of his career. It might be that one. So wait, we got the 2010s. We got All Is Lost, Captain America: Winter Soldier, and A Walk in the Woods. Oh wait, we go Captain America: Winter Soldier, A Walk in the Woods, Truth, Pete's Dragon, 2016 maybe. I don't know if that's in the case as well too. Spy Game, The Clearing, and Unfinished Life, in Charlotte's Web, Lion for Lambs. I don't know, Chad. It's got some up and down runs in here as well too. But The Natural in 84 as well. But yeah, it might have been him in the 70s, honestly, when he was crushing with some of those roles. And I gotta say, like right away, again, there is of course things that can be timeless for movies outside of just like the visual quality of the movie. But early on, this movie, again, obviously, we've only seen a couple scenes, but just visually, it does look pretty good as well too. And this is again like a pretty basic sort of set. We got just them like hanging out in the office, and I guess who directed this movie? Oh, Pollock directed this movie. Another, of course, iconic director. So he's working with some guys here, Chad. We got Pollock, and then a couple of times, I guess The Way We Were was with Pollock before. So the second, third. Chat. I guess they work together. Fourth. Oh, so this is his guy, chat. Okay. I guess I don't know, what his story is there. Chat. We don't follow the Hollywood Reporter, I guess, for everybody. But in terms of the amount of movies they did make a bunch. And they made 2-3 more as well. And then he worked with Tony Scott in Spy Game. So, obviously working with the best. But I guess this is the best version of, like we're saying, the movie, the run, and if he's working with his guy as well too, this might be just that sort of best snapshot of his career in general, with this director being this influential in sort of the movies and the roles that he was gravitating toward. So again, like we said, we're going to keep this movie on and definitely pay attention to it. But we did have a couple of Monday night games as well too, chat. Don't forget. Oh, chat, hopefully we don't lose it. The internet make no mistake, is definitely a little iffy right now, chat. I don't know. We're getting some red bars on the red ring of death for the internet. I don't know. But as long as the actual internet thing doesn't go out, then I guess we're good. So we're just going to have to walk a tightrope, chat. It is what it is. But yeah, we did, again, have 2 Monday night games. I don't know. Do we have 2 Monday night games next week as well, too? Here, let's double check the schedule and see what we got. When we have multiple games of football on a day, I'm not going to complain. But as people were saying, people on the East Coast, of course, had the difficulty of the late start. The Midwest, 9 o'clock, I think it's not like crazy. And it did start pretty good as well, too. It's not like the other game necessarily. It was down to the wire. But it's not like it goes into overtime and pushing maybe the start time. We went back. It's like all of a sudden, wait a second, what's happening now? This game's gonna be crazy. But regardless, it's like we're at halftime here, and it's like, am I gonna make it through the second half of this game? So luckily, the game itself, of course, seemed like the better team was being figured out earlier on. But again, both games were important early on. We got a divisional matchup with the Chargers and the Raiders, and a very, I think, sort of, you want to say equal match to where those teams would be perceived at sort of in their conferences, with the Texans and Bucks being sort of sleeper teams. But I think the Bucks are, of course, going to be emerging as a little bit of a stronger option in their conference than the Texans. And I think for the Texans as well, too, the concerning part, of course, early in the season. And it's tough to say because of their quarterback. But obviously, quarterback as well, too, is not necessarily the thing that, again, like we're seeing with the Bengals, I guess it is, of course, the most important spot, but maybe doesn't always necessarily just guarantee that you're going to score a lot of points, because, 19 points and 14 points in the first 2 weeks is not necessarily great. I don't know if they're, at the bottom of the league, but I guess the Panthers did get to 22, so the Panthers have gotten to 20 points before the Texans, chat. And again, we're only in week 2 here, but let's see, can we get some early offensive stats on where these teams are at here? Points for. Let's see. They are last, chat. They're last in the AFC. The Raiders have 29 points through 2 games. The Texans have 28. And Geno had 3 picks in that game. So I don't think Stroud has played that bad. Yeah, the Panthers have 32. The Panthers have scored both these teams and the Titans. Oh, chat. Bryce Young, his stock's way up. I guess again, the Titans, that week 1 game was low scoring, but I guess them not scoring a lot of points is obviously a little bit different, because it's obviously, the EPA as well, a little bit of it too, the mental EPA of what we, again, expect a quote unquote good offense to be with a good quarterback like that. But regardless, again, 0-2 as well is concerning, but even that, just the way the team is functioning, because the AFC South, if you're going to be 0-2 in a division, like be 0-2 in the AFC South, obviously you don't have to necessarily be a great team to win that division or compete with other wildcard teams as well too. You can potentially get a free pass. We'll see obviously what the Colts record is at the end of the year as well. Their schedule, like we were looking at, does look favorable if they are playing this well. But yeah, their ability to just, again, not move the ball, even if their defense has been good, it hasn't given up, again, a lot of points as well too. And Tampa, again, is a really good team. So I think there's some impressive stuff there. I think they really, again, forced them into that, basically they had 20 points up until that last year, 14 points throughout the course of the game, and you force Baker Mayfield to have to pull off a last drive like that is, basically as good as you can play for a defense outside of, fortunately getting the last stop. But regardless, again, it's still cooking pretty good there. And today on McAfee, again, we were walking around the restaurant just reading the headlines of the topics they were talking about. And, the 2 games sort of, I don't know if we have to do maybe the 2-game MVP, but this is the peak of their MVP conversation. I don't know if we have to do that kind of watch list throughout the year. And again, maybe Baker, because they were talking about, I guess, Baker for MVP. And I guess that's what I was debating. I was like, is this just the 2 weeks sort of, we need to let the rest of the season play out? And he's played really well through the first couple of games and had a, couple of dramatic drives. Or is this going to be a real thing? Because he does have an aura to him, I guess, if we want to say it, that, the sort of, and I don't know if we can necessarily correlate like the football internet sort of narratives and maybe how some writers would think for voting for him. But there is, I think, a general, everybody's kind of rooting for Baker now thing that's happening. And, again, he's been in the league a while. He's sort of earned his stripes just being around, being the number 1 pick. There is a pedigree to him as well, too. And they have been a competitive playoff team, and at least in the mix, so it's not like he's just proven that he's way off of those, again, I don't want to, say I don't want to say he's not a champion, if that makes sense. But again, it's just like that last step of actually achieving that goal. But again, he's been in the mix competing with those teams, is I guess what we're saying there. So, I guess here, let's see where he's at on FanDuel. I don't know if they were bringing that up because of maybe the way the odds has shifted. But again, you get a guy like Jordan Love, that would make sense narratively for him sort of rising up into the ranks as an MVP candidate. And chat, I guess one of the, I guess the, to go back to the movie we're watching here real quick, the basic plot of the movie is Robert Redford's got to figure out who's killing off his associates, I guess. So not necessarily a spoiler to say that they're killing people off, because again, that's kind of the general premise. I guess maybe the who, what, the basic questions is going to be, the spoilers that we'll have to figure out here. But I thought that maybe it is comedic how they did that first kill, I guess. But it was almost, I thought I was watching like Airplane for a second, the way the secretary just like flew back in the chair. I don't know, was that maybe it's probably because it was some kind of dummy. I don't know if we have to go back and look. Hey, we're talking about like some kind of, obviously, mannequin situation. But yeah, just and I guess again, it's not like it's a secret sort of elimination here. This is very much like a order. Is it Order 66, chat? Ayo, the Star Wars people. Did we get the reference right? This is very much like a Order 66 type. They're just walking in and kind of taking care of everything that's going on. Oh, chat. This lady was talking to Redford in their opening scene. I guess they just cut to her. Does that mean she's in danger? Is she in the next office? Or, oh, chat, I think Von Sydow is in the room now. I don't know. This is not looking good. I don't know if this means that she is, like, the hostage situation, maybe? Or if this is the end of the rope and sort of, oh, man, now Redford's got to get serious about what's going on here. Uh-oh, chat. The close-up on the silencer is not a good sign. And this guy has, of course, been ruthless the entire time. So, I don't know. Would he show any kind of restraint in this moment? And for what? Oh, chat. Oh, I mean, we just got some... Speaking of iconic directors, we got some great directing, kind of the gunfire into the typewriter transition there. So I think that might be an RIP. Oh, man. That's unfortunate as well. And, maybe killing off certain kind of characters early on. I don't know if that's something, 75, not age the best. But that was tough. I can already tell. I'm not necessarily... we're going to pivot real quick. Back to this movie. Let's see who this actor was. Because I already would have been like, hey, let's just see more of them in this movie. Hopefully they're still alive, Chad. Let's see. I guess, shout out. We still got, Faye Dunaway to pop up into the mix. And I guess just maybe Redford luckily out and about as well, too. I don't know if this is, again, one of these perfectly timed, just he's the lucky guy situations, or if they knew that Redford was going to... And see, chat, even the guy on the old guy laying on the stairs with his wig falling off. Like, I mean, even just the little touches. I don't know, we've been watching, I guess Scarface is on Tubi right now. So I was going to say, we've been watching a lot of De Palma movies, but really we've been watching Scarface over and over again. It is what it is. But is there a little, like, kind of the De Palma over-the-topness in some of the stuff? But again, it's not necessarily, I guess, over the top. So yeah, chat, ayo, R.I.P. She's down. But let's see if we can get a cast list here. And I guess we didn't get a name necessarily about what was the... Oh, Tina Chen? It's got to be Tina Chen. Shout out. Alice's starred in films Alice's Restaurant, 3 Days in the Condor, and The Hawaiians. So I don't know what the entire filmography is. This the entire filmography here, chat? Yeah, and The Paperman in 71, I guess. The Ghost of Flight 401 in 1978, and Face in 2002. So not necessarily the most, stacked filmography. A lot of television, I guess, in the mix. Some theater. So I guess, a stacked career. I guess we did this, stacked filmography. It is what it is. Obviously putting in the work. But could have had, maybe it would have been a fun, maybe what if casting as well, too. If, we were just in a better spot in 75. But, yeah, unfortunately, everybody in this room is gone. But, I mean, I guess maybe they, a hostage, I don't know if that's something that, strategically would work here. I guess we'll have to see what the plan is as well. But yeah, here, okay, quick, back to Baker's MVP odds. Let's see if we can find him here. Is he like top 5? I guess, can we put odds on if he's top 5, chat? We're taking bets real quick. Is Baker Mayfield top 5 in MVP voting? I don't know if it's plus or minus. You'll have to check IT. They're the ones that cook up all the sportsbook stuff as well. But maybe it needs to be a guy narratively that is established a little bit as well too. Like it would be interesting wins wise, a guy like him and Jordan Love, like how that would compare if they were narratively kind of close in the conversation near the end of the year. And again, through 2 games, I guess you could kind of say that he is, I don't know if you could say he's doing doing a little bit more, but at least the drama that he has had to face at the end of these games is been a little bit more than some of these other guys as well too. So Herbert, we're talking about, I guess, Baker, because, shout out McAfee. I guess 20-1, so he's kind of the next outside sleeper. But if Hurts is 20-1 and Baker's 20-1, I don't know, Chaz. I think you got to go Hurts. To tell you a hot take, you got to go Hurts at 20-1. I know that. Do the Eagles, are the Eagles fans totally happy about the way the Eagles played the first 2 games? But I think, honestly, that's just Eagles fans, and they still have objectively been still kind of the better teams. Like, I know that if we were actually just, again, are we saying objective? How do you want to look at it? Are we still kind of valuing our perceived football talent? Like, are the Colts just the best team in the league through the first couple of games? Actually, if we're looking at only that type of games displayed as well. So I have a chat to 10. Ayo, I don't know what Redford's just walking down the street paranoid. There's some good somebody with like a stroller, maybe looking like, they could be targeting Redford, but then again, is it just Redford? Like, who's after me, who's not? So, again, I got us a little sidetracked here, watching him run around in terror. But again, with the way that you would assume that with the way they're going to be able to pull out these games, and with the way that maybe they're not going to use their receivers this year, I don't know. But there not necessarily has been a lot of stats funneled that way through the first couple of games, and it's been a lot of the Hurts, the legs, and his management. And again, just we don't want to say or twice here, but just his sort of the leadership stuff that he has and the way he's ascended and carrying himself now in this sort of post-championship season that they're having. Like I still would say it's a better bet at 20-1 than Baker, but Baker at 20-1 over Mahomes at 25-1 is pretty crazy. Because I feel like, again, Mahomes being MVP this year is not off the table, but obviously, but it feels like obviously Kansas City is going to have a lot of work to do for them to get back in the conversation. So I don't know if we're already sort of, the tier for MVP is set 2 weeks in, but again, it would make sense that this is going to be the group of guys. And again, Allen and Lamar, leading the way. Hot take. Herbert, again, ascending. Not necessarily surprising. Love, Daniels, Hurt, and Baker. But again, if you're saying the MVP is going to be from this group of guys right here, and I'm willing to cut Mahomes, hot take, we're willing to cut Mahomes out at this point, 2 games in, 0-2. I guess maybe the revival would benefit his case a little bit if they were just winning some more games and got back into the playoffs. There's definitely a possibility of that. But if you were saying the MVPs from one of these 7 guys, then I would not be shocked at all. Because then once you go to Mahomes at 25-1, he's tied with Dak, Stafford, Goff. I guess, Dak, Stafford are tied, and then Goff is 30-1. And then it goes Kyler, another drop to 50-1. And again, the Cardinals have gotten wins over the Panthers and the Saints. So I don't know if it's an MVP level performance if you barely have won over the Saints, Chad. Where's Spencer Rattler's MVP odds, honestly? Let's see. Does he even have odds? Tua's at 150 over Spencer Rattler, Chad? I mean, Tua's 0-2. How? I guess so is Spencer Rattler, but how is Spencer Rattler plus 350 and Tua 150-1 at FanDuel? Get your stuff together here. Puka Nacua plus 170. Bryce Young Bryce Young 170 plus 175. Are we even reading this right, Chad? Hey, yo. Plus 1,700, basically. That versus Spencer Rattler at plus 3,500 does feel, or I guess plus 35,000. 350-1. Am I reading that right? I don't even get so many zeros tapped on here. I don't even know what's going on here. But I guess Aiden Hutchinson should be higher as well too. Honestly, I don't know, maybe, but Rattler over GT does seem correct as well. So that would be fine. Rattler over AJ Brown, Browning, 200-1. I guess CD Lamb 200 to 1, but he's been dropping past McCarthy at 200 to 1 versus Spencer Rattler 350 to 1. I don't know, chat. It's a conversation. Cam Ward 175 to 1. Fields maybe not after this game, but again, Wilson, Henry, like where I guess if we're going who's the surprise guy that emerges, I guess it would be Daniel Jones at 80 to 1, but we go coach of the year. That's exactly where probably the recognition would go instead of, to Daniel Jones. And again, shout out, he'd be playing well. But yeah, Steichen leads the way at plus 650. And you got Harbaugh 10 to 1, LaFleur 10 to 1, Jonathan Gannon 10 to 1. So Steichen right now, is not even necessarily good value at the moment. Again, Gannon, the Jags at 13 to 1. The Jags coach Liam Cohen at 13 to 1. Schottenheimer at 14 to 1. I guess if we were going like best rookie coach, that would be interesting. Is Schottenheimer a rookie or was he there last year? I don't think he was there last year. But hey, shout out to the Fever as well. 71 to 47. They kind of poured it on here a little bit. 6 minutes left in the fourth. Really closing out that potential again elimination game. Are the Dream making some subs? Moving on, you get the home game for the best of 3 as well. But that again is a really successful moment here for them in a season that you just don't know what the expectations are after you lose a player of obviously Clark's magnitude. Ben Johnson, Sean Payton down at the bottom of the list. Brian Daboll 35 to 1, and he is, I guess he's 0-2. Tomlin 40 to 1. The Tomlin stuff, chat, is interesting, and they were fortunately able to get that win against the Jets, and who knows, we'll have to see. The Jets did obviously not look good against the Bills, and the Steelers did not look good against the Seahawks, so we'll have to see if those two teams just did not look good and were playing against each other in week 1. But if they're really underachieving week to week, then again, it's just sort of, I know that you're still not gonna maybe be like, okay, is Ben Johnson coaching better than Tomlin? But it would be interesting to see at least what Pittsburgh thought. Because I would say that Tomlin would be like, okay, is Tomlin going to be there for 5 years? Yes or no? I would still take the yes, but you just, I guess, can never say in the modern NFL. And again, I guess I was 5 years feels like really dramatic. You'd be like, oh, is he going to be there 3 years? Who knows? But I'm taking the betting on the extra longevity of it for AO instead of them being dramatic and necessarily a move in that way. But yeah, I guess shout out to Baker as well too for at least being in. So I guess regardless, he has made the cut. If this was like a golf tournament, 2 weeks in, the MVP has to make the cut. Baker Mayfield's at least made the cut. And the fact that Daniels is 12 to 1 as well too. Again, we're obviously big fans of Daniels' upside here on this pod, so I'm not gonna be against it. But I'm glad at least I guess I don't even know what the word is. But, interested that people are still, I guess, valuing his performances like that. Because, again, at least they haven't necessarily looked stellar through the first couple of weeks. And maybe it would be, again, them continuing to play better over the course of the season and kind of that possibility is still being considered the more likely one, that he continues to carry that team. But at least statistically, yeah, I guess they're 23rd overall in the PFF grade. I don't know if he's been pretty stellar statistically. But, again, I think he has played well circumstantially, and maybe the Packers are just awesome. So I think honestly, we could look back and be like, maybe them hanging with the Packers can kind of not in a super major way, but them just being around enough in that game might be interesting. Like, I don't know if are the Commanders going to be super scared of the Packers in the playoffs? Should that have been the takeaway after that Thursday night game? Like, yes, the Packers looked amazing, and again, comparatively how the Lions played in week 2, it's like, oh man, if the Lions can put up 55 in week 2 and 6 against the Packers in week 1, then how good is this Packers defense? But are the Commanders going, yeah, they played well. Yeah, it's terrifying, the Micah Parsons thing, and there's a lot of talent there. But we were kind of in that game, and if we got one stop and get the ball back to Jaden Daniels, like, you just never know what can happen in some situations. I guess, was it a 9 or a... But they did score. And if they, again, had gotten the stop and got the ball back, then I guess it would have been a different scenario for what the final score ended up being. But they're just I guess, and that's more, again, for NFC competition side of things. But for playoff, them against the bigger picture conference aspect of it, they're looking like they could be one of the top tier teams. Them winning the division is obviously tough because Philly is there, but them still being a top 4 team in the conference vibes wise is still very much alive. But yeah, Herbert, of course, looks fantastic to start the year. I mean, everybody, of course, is talking about the girlfriend effect for the NFL chat. Hey, yo, I mean, between Allen and Herbert, I guess were those the two guys, and then I guess people were throwing Kelsey into the mix, but yeah, I don't know if he's, of course, maybe gotten the boost in the same type of way. Do we have to look at the stats, chat? What season was that when they started dating? Hey, yo, I mean, maybe it was just that would have been the way his stats progressed in general, but I guess there's no way to ever know, chat. The problem is, I get the problem. That's not what we meant. I guess for the stats, anyways. The thing is, they would be timelined in to a certain event. But yeah, Fields, Herbert, and between we were talking about Jordan Love being sort of, a little more old school with him being a lot of the drop back focus type stuff, and Herbert definitely has mobility to his game. But again, with him and Love being good, it's not even just the old school, drop back stuff as well too. But I also like that they're a little bit taller. I know that is can be a little can quarterbacks be too tall is a conversation again. I guess Herbert at the time of the draft, was it, shout out. I know Robert Mays was working for the Ringer at the time. I guess shout out to us. We're just biased towards certain websites. So it is what it is. But shout out, I guess, he's moved on. His career is probably, doing amazing at this point. But, he was, I think, in the is Herbert too tall camp. Or, at least just here's the history of the tall quarterbacks in the league. It's kind of interesting that if there's this weird, kind of perfect sort of range for the perfect kind of ideal prospect. But again, the sort of the tall, commanding in the pocket type guy, they do kind of have those vibes. It is kind of funny to see. Because, again, even Mahomes is what is 6'2", 6'3"? It feels like a lot of the quarterbacks are in the range 6'3". I want to say, I guess Josh Allen's probably he might be who knows, but he's 6'5". Yeah, he's pretty good. I guess Jaden Daniels might be tall but kind of skinny, so I don't know if that kind of makes up for the fact he's 6'4". Okay, so he's kind of in that more. Because I think is Brady 6'4", 6'5", so more that, again, you don't want to say ideal. I think maybe Manning might have been 6'5" as well too. So yeah, I guess that whatever, spot, pause. But whatever that ideal range is for QB height, he's falling in there. But those guys are just really fun, of course, with the actual, and again, obviously Lamar and Josh Allen. I don't think they're still. Because Mahomes at this point, we're still we're just fully bored of Mahomes as a player at this point. And again, he hasn't necessarily been week to week the great performer, highlight, just entertainment, whatever, all of the checking all the boxes. He necessarily hasn't been that guy week to week the same way that he has been in the past or compared to some of the other guys in the league. But regardless, even if Mahomes was awesome in that type of way, I guess people would just be sick then of, the NFL socials just reposting all the highlights and, doing the whole, but literally, doing the whole Mahomes thing as well. But we're bored of Mahomes. We're not quite bored of Allen and Lamar yet, but I think next year we will be. Next year will be the year that we're going to be bored of Allen and Lamar. Because again, if Jaden continues to ascend this year, and I guess we'll see what happens with Stroud and, I guess it would be Herbert and Love as the next couple guys. But those would be that would be of who are we going to be infatuated with at the quarterback position for the next couple of years. So, whichever next generation guys continue to emerge as well. Cam Ward, if he gets his name into the mix with the way that he, if he continues to progress his game as well. And that's not to say, again, that Josh Allen and Lamar are going to drop off. They're still going to be awesome players. I guess if they're, again, taking the Mahomes route, then maybe they will, but we're not necessarily locking it in. But we will be bored of them next year. There's just going to be no more MVPs to hand out. Josh Allen, especially if Josh Allen gets the second one. I guess if Lamar gets the fourth MVP, then that's crazy. But I think Lamar might be maxed out for MVPs. I don't know. Maybe he needs a couple more seasons, a late season sort of Aaron Rodgers, couple of years between the run. Oh, chat. Hey, yo. we got some more people going down here. Redford. I guess maybe he is a little bit lucky at this time as well. But to be honest, that guy wasn't moving. That last guy that just got took out. So, I don't know if it was a little deer in the headlights situation there. But Redford did make a getaway, so you do have to credit. Again, goes on to play an athlete in some later movies. So I don't know if you can see the athleticism with him running down the street here. But you do have, of course, what is this, like a dress shoes, dress boot situation? So he is kind of cooking in those as well. Like, I know skinny jeans weren't necessarily in 75, but I wouldn't say, jeans in 75 would be peak mobility as well, too. Suit coat on. So, again, have we seen a guy running a suit and dress shoes before? I mean, every James Bond movie ever. It's like, okay, how does this guy run a 4.340 and Stacey Adams? Like, get James Bond in the Josh Heupel offense. But, Redford's making his case as well, too, with the way he's cooking in dress shoes. I don't know, we need dress shoes. Does that need to be a test at the combine? If we were running a team at the or maybe like a pro day, bringing him in for a workout, we're going to be like, okay, this is the James Bond right here. You got to run this. You got to run the 40, and then we got to do a whole route tree, but it's all in dress shoes, in a suit, in a tie, and maybe like a one-shot Sam Mendes Spectre type take. Who knows? But do we get? Is this this got to be the first time Faye Dunaway's been on screen, because I feel like we would have noticed at this point. Oh, chat, Robert Redford immediately just has to turn the tables on somebody, I guess, to try to make a getaway. Maybe is Faye Dunaway involved in something? I don't know. Maybe he knows who she is. Is she a stranger and he's just like, I need a vehicle? Hey, yo, to a getaway driver car, situation. But maybe she's involved in the political sphere as well too. I guess I don't know. What was her character name? Like Senator Faye Dunaway, or I don't know. I guess it didn't say what Robert Redford's job title was in this one. Oh, Chad in the helicopter just missed the landing circle. So close. Enough space for him. Luckily, the landing area is cleared out enough. But there was a target, and make no mistake, he did miss it. I don't know if maybe the target is for the tail end of the helicopter, because then it would be perfect. If the target was actually land to just the right of the target, then it's perfect. But otherwise, maybe just, I don't know, A+ pilot, I don't know. But yeah, shout out for our early MVP candidates for 2026. Herbert would be fun. I think, again, Daniels year 2, I think we would love Daniels to continue to get better, have playoff success. With the Colts having a little mini revival here through 2 games, Daniel Jones playing really well. I don't know if we're going to say the Colts don't need a quarterback. It's not necessarily that. I don't know if other fan bases would be happy to hear us be like, well, I don't know if we have the frame. You might be good this year. It's like, well, but what does that mean? Are we going to be 9-10 wins this year and losing the first round of the playoffs? Are we going to be better than we thought? Or are we going to be better off than we thought? Because I guess that's ultimately going to be the thing that, the Colts fans, it's like, are we better off than we thought? But, again, are some of these fan bases that are going to be worse off this year going to be wanting to hear us talk about that type of stuff? And, who knows what the 2026 class looks like as well, too. But I guess point being, Daniels is still early on enough. I don't know if I'm ready as another fan to see him quite win some MVPs yet. Again, Herbert has been around for a while. I guess Jordan Love hasn't necessarily been around for a ton of years, actually, playing as much as he has been in the league. But, he has earned a little, he has earned some of the narrative stuff as well, too, I guess, in our minds. But I guess maybe I am talking myself into Baker, chat. Hey, yo, that would be pretty fun. And I guess I've also just really enjoyed the fact that, like, him and Jared Goff have been able to have these successful careers as well, too. The fact that these number 1 overall picks, again, they don't have to be the Hall of Fame type guy. They even have to be, I guess, is Baker even the best quarterback in his draft class? That's the Josh Allen and Lamar class, and Baker's in that class. Is that all the same? And is that Darnold? Am I getting the guys right? Or is it Baker, Darnold, Rosen? Maybe those 3 for sure. And then I don't know if Josh Allen was in the mix that year or if it's just Lamar. But here, wait, let's see. Because Lamar would have been 18, 19 draft, maybe 19. Let's see. We're getting all the years doubled together. I mean, obviously those guys were in the league around the same time. Oh, so Allen might have been 17 draft then. at that point. Oh no, okay, so all in the same draft. Ooh, Chad, so imagine. Oh, if Baker got an MVP, the first 3 MVP draft, I don't know if you would necessarily say that this is the greatest quarterback draft of all time, though maybe we do have to start talking about that as well. Is the 2018 class the greatest quarterback draft class of all time? I know that immediately the Elway class is going to be brought up because you do have Elway and Moreno. And make no mistake, I guess Elway's later years. Terrell Davis is carrying that QB conversation right there, chat. Hey, yo. It is what it is. Shout out to the Fever for winning game 2, so they'll advance to game 3. Avoid elimination in return to Atlanta, I guess, to see who's able to move to the second round. But Vegas in Seattle, down 7-10, halfway through the first quarter to start. So, again, Seattle is competitive as well, too. Agumake, 3 for 4 to start, 8 points. So, her versus Asia Wilson is just going to be a crazy matchup. Knowing as well, too, that these players have to lock in with elimination on the line. So I was going to say 84 draft for the NFL, but 83 draft is the one that Elway was in. 84 draft for the NBA would be the iconic one. And I guess the 84 draft, you've also got Eric Dickerson, Jimbo Covert, Bruce Matthews, so some other non-QB Hall of Famers in the mix as well, too, to pump up just the overall draft class. But the quarterback position and Jim Kelly. So Jim Kelly, is he the Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield versus Jim Kelly's a tough one. Not a tough one, chat. Maybe a tough one for Baker. But, a difficult, definitely, again, to make this a good class. So, yeah, Elway, Blackledge, Todd Blackledge, Jim Kelly, Tony Eason, Ken O'Brien, and Moreno was the first round. So all the quarterbacks went in the first round, and then nobody after that. Jeff Christensen, Reggie Collier, Babe Laufenberg, and then Gary Kubiak was the last quarterback. Oh, no, wait a second. 8th round. Tom Ramsey, 10th round. Bruce Mathian in the 10th round. Jim Bob Taylor. Cleet Casper. This guy's from a different year. Dave Magram. And then Scott Lundquist. The 333rd pick of the draft, Scott Lundquist. From Northern Arizona. But, yeah, so you got Elway, Moreno, and Jim Kelly versus Lamar, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield. And again, I know there's a legendary status with these guys as well too. That is part of the conversation, but also you're like, okay, are we ready to start talking about Lamar and Josh Allen over those names? But I think if we're talking play style, I mean Elway, of course, actually had that sort of dual versatility type of way. Again, I don't know if he had the same type of rush yards, but he had that mobility. Maybe. Obviously maybe a little more like Herbert-esque in that type of just the way he was deploying that. But he was, I guess, just in terms of the regular season awards, he himself won 1 MVP. He's played, again, more years, so these guys have had some more Pro Bowls and stuff like that. But Elway never made a first-team All-Pro as well, too. So, again, Allen and Lamar have at least shared in that, award over the last couple of years, kind of taking turns at being in the first team. You've got Kelly did make a first team, and then Moreno made a first team. So you've got 4 on the draft class overall. So Moreno's got at least 1 MVP. Does he have 2 MVPs? And he's got 1. So they had 3 All-Pros. Again, 9 Pro Bowls for both of them. And just the 1 MVP as well. So, again, Lamar's already historic with the MVPs. Did I say Lamar has 4? Does he have 3 or 2 or 3? I guess maybe 2 is just the obvious answer, but again, Manning's got 5, so I feel like that just kind of distorts whoever's second and third at this point. Yeah, he has 2 MVPs. He has 3 Pro Football Writer of America MVPs, so we're not wrong in that he has 3 MVPs, just not maybe 3 of the ones that are typically counted. The AP MVP, he's got 2 of those. Okay, so maybe the 3rd MVP is on the table for Lamar. Who knows? But again, if Lamar gets a 2nd MVP, maybe 4 MVPs between the 2 guys before they get to a Super Bowl is just the overall limit as well, too. Because imagine if Lamar had 3 MVPs and Josh Allen had 2 and they just didn't make a Super Bowl. Again, I guess you would say, okay, well, is Mahomes making the Super Bowl again in both those years? But maybe it is is Herbert in it this year, and then, obviously, or is Daniel Jones in it this year, and then obviously when we draft Arch Manning, then we're in it again the next year, or I don't know, Dante Moore, I guess, I don't know, whoever. And then Bryce Underwood, trade Arch Manning, draft Bryce Underwood. A little tricky sort of team building situation there, rookie contract wizardry. You didn't know that was the game plan, but we did get Arch Manning on a rookie contract, good value. He slid in the draft a little bit, and then I guess Arch Manning we tank for Bryce Underwood. I don't know, but yeah. Regardless, maybe a little bit of work to do. Maybe this year would decide. So I don't know. Can we bet on the 2018 draft class to win the MVP? That needs to be a special on here. Would somebody from the 2018 draft class win an MVP? Because you're gonna get the draft class as well too. It doesn't have to be a quarterback. If we get the whole draft class, then wait, do we get Garrett? Was Garrett 17? Or oh yeah, because Baker would have been number one pick. Garrett was the number one pick in his draft. So that gives us Denzel Ward and Bradley Chubb. Yeah, I don't know if the skill guys are necessarily gonna boost this up a notch. Oh, Fred Warner. Okay, maybe that's just more personal bias. I guess he's not gonna win the MVP of the league. Shout out, we love Fred Warner. Quentin Nelson, maybe. I guess if somebody on the Colts has to win it, if the Colts just score every drive, then somebody's gonna have to win an MVP, right? Like, we literally have scored every drive. It's crazy, but yeah. So I guess again, Nelson and Leonard was a great class for the Colts. Oh, so you get Saquon in the mix as well too for MVP. You do get an Eagle. It's pretty good bet. Mailata, probably not looking at MVP range at this point. And I guess would it be the next year with Herbert? Is Herbert the next, or Herbert 2 years? 2020, 2021, 3 years? Hey yo, chat. I guess we just don't know draft years. The way once you go past the number one pick, it's like, oh wait a second, who else was in that class? Okay, so 2020 was the Burrow, Herbert, and Hurts class as well too. That's right, Hurts in second round. So if we're getting technical greatest first rounds of all time, again that 83 class, all those guys were still in the first round. That wouldn't really, I don't think, that'd be a conversation really for draft season only. But just in terms of best QB draft classes, Burrow, Hurts, and Jalen. So I guess did I say Hurts and Jalen? Herbert and Hurts, Herbert and Jalen. So this season would be basically the 2020 and the 2018 draft class kind of battling it out. And I guess again maybe the 2020 draft class being a little bit had a couple of years in front of the 2018 class. Like, it's not necessarily that they're on the perfect same timelines, but still they're all kind of competing together at the same prime. And wait a second, Love's in this class. That's right too. Yeah, Jordan Love is in this class. So again, Hurts, maybe does he win the league MVP, but he has the Super Bowl, and Burrow has a Super Bowl appearance as well. So is this the Super Bowl? Is this the Super Bowl draft class? And then the other one's the MVP draft class? Hey, yo, Chad, I don't know, but you got Burrow and Hurts both making it, and Lamar and Josh Allen both winning MVP, so maybe that locks in a Jordan Love for the Super Bowl. Again, it would have to be Jordan Love. But Burrow, I guess, has already made it. So it would be Tua, Jordan Love versus Tua Super Bowl, or I guess Jordan Love versus Herbert if it's the same draft class. I don't know. We were saying, I guess the Niners would have been the other team that sort of has the football history in their favor right now, in terms of this is lining up for them to make. This is what a Super Bowl season has looked like, I guess, for them in the past, some of the pattern stuff. But we were saying maybe it's more like NFC Championship game, them versus the Packers. So Niners, Packers, NFC Championship game, and then Packers, Chargers in the Super Bowl. So can we bet on the Super Bowl right now, chat? Wait a second. Let's see what we got here. Maybe we're just winning you guys, money right as we talk. I guess Packers are 7-1 right now to win it. Ravens at 5-1, Bills at plus 550, Packers 7-1, Eagles 7-1, Chiefs are 13-1. But we want Packers versus the Chargers. Wait, this might be, if we get 50-1 on this, chat, this is going to be interesting. Okay, Ravens, Bills, Packers, I'm assuming would be on early. Bengals, we might have to go through the AFC here. Broncos, Texans. Okay, Colts, so we're going to have to find the Chargers. And they should be right up here soon. Oh, Las Vegas, here we go. Los Angeles, the Chargers before the Rams, chat. Not in fans, but at least alphabetically. So, Chargers versus Packers. Oh, 33-1. Hey, yo, Chargers versus Lions, 75-1. Chargers versus Niners, 80-1. I don't know if the Niners are going to make the Super Bowl, but Chargers versus the Commanders, 100-1. Interesting. Dolphins versus Cardinals, 150,000-1. I don't know, but 33-1 is a little bit like these teams might be kind of on pace to get there. So wait, are we better off? I guess we can't parlay a winner, but the Chargers are 1. So do you bet the Chargers? Well, then that would be them winning the Super Bowl. So you'd have to bet them to win the conference. I guess. Wait, let's see where they're at. So 8-1 to win the conference. Packers plus 320. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, 33-1 is gonna be the best way to bet on that. Unless there's like a week to week math thing that we're not gonna be able to figure out here, as not that type of knowing the gambling odds that well. But they are, again, with Herbert playing this well, looking really scary. The Khalil Mack thing, of course, is tough, but they've already kind of withstood some injuries, and who knows if that's like a rallying type thing as well too. I don't know. Maybe just the injuries are going to be the thing that always, of course, are just going to be the end of the Chargers. Who knows? But they clearly now are the best team in the AFC West. They have 2 AFC West wins under their belt to help them out as well too. And the Chiefs' AFC West dominance has to end at some point. I don't know. Maybe we didn't even talk about that with Sam. We didn't even say, do we want to keep the AFC West thing going? We just wanted to just like, can we keep the conference championship thing going? Can we make the playoff as a wild card and then win a couple of games at that point? But Chargers are kind of opening, like getting a lead here in the division a little bit. And the Broncos just, again, haven't quite had the fourth quarters. Maybe that's just Sean Payton early in the year. But maybe record-wise, at least it puts them a couple games back and gets the Chargers a little bit more comfortable. So, wait, who do they have here? And again, with the way Geno was playing and stuff, it's like, I don't know if they were necessarily needing Khalil Mack in that game anyways. But their lineup here without him, I guess they still got Khalil Mack in the lineup. Hey, yo, is he just superhuman, chat? He might be, honestly. Bud Dupree is their other option. Hey, yo. So they might, actually need Khalil Mack. But their secondary was definitely flying around, and Gilman had a pick on the first one. Okay, maybe it was Geno, and maybe Geno's looked a little bit more erratic than we would have hoped for earlier in the year. And, Darnold hasn't necessarily been, again, the most consistent guy in the league pass to pass over in Seattle, but at least he's looked more consistent than Geno did in this last game. So at least maybe, they got the better end of the upgrade there. And, again, there you would still assume that Geno, a veteran, figures it out. He still, looks good throwing the passes and stuff. So I don't think it's necessarily like a Kirk Cousins type, how's the physical ability at this point. But the reads, and again, just that early on, just not seeing that safety down just on that first play, and the way that he was, again, just kind of hastily making a bunch of the decisions in that game. But then, the pressure was also being a little feisty as well too. Like, it seemed like it might be a little bit of a long year for the Raiders offense if Geno plays that way. And again, GT hasn't necessarily gotten crazy stats the first couple of weeks as well too. So that's been a little bit of a tough one for, again, a rookie running backs, where it seems like those guys are oftentimes able to step in and produce pretty significantly earlier on in their careers. But yeah, I would not be surprised early on if, like we were saying, the MVP was from one of those early guys. But I guess I don't know if we fully highlighted Baker as a potential, is this one of the sort of surprise MVP options? I guess, again, Ubers type stuff. Hey, yo, chat, Rob Redford, settle down. Hey, yo, that's Faye Dunaway there. But I guess that does seem like this with Baker has, of course, powered him to a couple of wins here earlier on. So we'll see, I guess, next couple of games if that could be a factor as well. But with Ibuka and, a couple of guys too with Mike Evans, but, another guy as well too with Ibuka, who you can go to in third down situations and is pretty reliable. They did lose an offensive lineman in that game. I guess I saw an injury update, but I didn't exactly, see what it was. But I saw them doing an injury update on McAfee. So we'll have to check that out and see how long the time missed is supposed to be there. But Bucky Irving looked pretty good in that game. I guess his grade hasn't been great, but, it doesn't seem like, it seems like he can still hold down that running back spot still pretty well. And they have Baker right now graded out as 20th. Hey, yo, Chad. PFF, not as highly, high on Baker's performance this year apparently as some of the odds are. I don't know if you want your odds at 20-1 to be the same as your PFF grade, but or your at least your place in the quarterback rankings. But he's in for a good year this year, stats wise as well too. He was up there last year, so he's going to be back for good stats this year as well too. But I don't know if Baker is, I don't know if there's any sort of parallels between Baker and Robert Redford. I guess I don't know what if Robert Redford's career was a quarterback. We've got another paranoid scene. Is this him at home? Hey, yo. He's been running around with Faye Dunaway. I guess that doesn't necessarily, write home life off the table, but I didn't know if that was a sort of, this is a couple single people running into each other in this movie as well, too. So is she spy, like, secret life setup situation? Hey, yo. Chat, do we not have closed captioning on? Hey, yo. We got to see what's, gonna have to start reading what Redford is saying here. Let's get this turned on here for this movie real quick. Oh, wait a second. Where did they go? I thought we knew where closed captioning was in the settings. Apparently not, chat. Apparently not. Accessibility and language? Chat, are we crazy? Only available. Oh, wait a second. Here. We can probably just turn them on the actual app that we're watching on. Okay, chat. We got it. Here we go. We are locked in. We're back. So, IT, not great at setting up the closed captionings. It is what it is. We'll work on it for future projects. Wait a second. Is he gonna... He's got to blow up the apartment? What's going on here? You just turn all the ovens on? I missed it as we were going up through the closed captionings. Hey, yo. Redford making some quick moves. Elevator with a window on it? I don't know if that's just for that one specific shot of her going up the elevator. Oh, chat. Perfect timing as well, too, as we pan back to Sadow. Maybe there was some elevator Captain America Winter Soldier parallels here. Are we going to get is Redford going to go crazy against, like 7 guys in an elevator? Or is maybe this is where he gets, got. I think we still got enough time left. I don't know, is this the twist? They get Redford halfway through? Sadow and Redford and then a third character in the elevator? I don't know if this is the classic he holds off the murder from happening, or if Sadow's just playing with him at this point. But that would definitely mean that, again, they're leaving Redford alive for a specific reason, more so than he just can't quite get him. But again, he's a clean operator. These guys, they don't leave a trace. So there is a situation where, well, I guess, they don't leave a trace. They just leave all the dead bodies in the house. But, again, they're in and out. It's like, who did this? We have no idea. There's obviously, it's 75. We have no ability to track these people anywhere. But, he's not going to necessarily maybe even want to make a clean attempt at a situation with people around as well, too. So now here we go, chat. Sadow versus Redford. Everybody's off. I don't even know if there's more floors to... This building's out of floors at this point. It's like, where'd this skyscraper go from? It's like a 7-floor building. All of a sudden, they're in an elevator for forever. Maybe just door closed, not pressing any buttons. They're just sitting in a non-moving elevator. But again, the window is there, so people would see it. Okay, so wait a second. They were going down? 2nd floor? Oh, chat. One more floor to go. Sadow, I think is he going to let him go? Or is he going to get him on the lobby? Hey, yo. He knows how to, just be a menacing character in the corner, chat. Hey, yo, I don't know if that's a pause or whatever. But, Redford, smart man. He won't let Sadow follow him. I think you got to, at least play it as safe as you possibly can in this moment. Like Redford, I don't know, backing yourself into a corner is the way to do it. But, at least keeping the guy in the line of sight is the best possible path. So, I'm sure, it's like, oh, wait a second. Am I just being paranoid? Is this that classic, just me thinking that everything's against me right now? But that guy definitely reads very shady. And shout out to Becky Hammond, chat. Hey, yo, doing the in-game interview, second quarter, it's game 2 of the first round of the playoffs, and they're just interviewing the coach in the middle of the game. I mean, chat, I get that maybe they're trying to, create a type of unprecedented access in the game that, of course, we just don't get in other types of basketball experience, and yet love the effort. But that's for the regular season, chat. Hey, yo, you got to let him coach in the playoffs. What are we doing? I don't know, maybe in the first quarter where they first get fired up, it's like the time to maybe then go to the earpiece. But second quarter is like we're in the heat of battle at this point. Like, let's not. What are we asking them? How do we feel about the performance? And then they're coaching in the middle of the game, trying to talk to Ruko about what's going on. Chat. Hey, yo, I mean the quarter setup is fine as well too. If we're gonna try to, stick to traditional broadcasting type stuff as well. I think, we're not necessarily fans of that for sports just in general. That's not even a basketball thing. That's just all sports in general. It's just a broadcast piece. I don't think that necessarily is the most great, but at least it's not in the flow of the game as well. I think that is tough. Or that's a celebrity game, all-star game. You can mic up the coach and have him talk and ask him questions. But in the game, or again, like, if you're in the NBA, you're trying to get people interested in November, December games, January games, the in-season tournament. Like, if you want to mic up your coaches for the in-season tournament and be like, oh, let's see him coach a clutch basketball. You know what? That's actually one I think was the Commissioner's Cup. If you want to mic up Becky Hammond for the Commissioner's Cup and say, hey, high-level moments, let's ask you what's going on in the moment, that is totally fine. It's the Commissioner's Cup. Who cares? But once we're in the playoffs, we gotta lock in. It's real basketball. 3-pointer. Is that Chelsea Gray, chat? 24. Is that going to go 27 to 24? So Vegas now taking the lead. 8 minutes left in the second quarter. It's the first time we've registered them having the lead, so I don't know if that's actually the first time it's happened or not. But shout out the turning. The turning tables have turned. I don't know. But they do have the score in their advantage now. So he's back to Faye Dunaway, chat. Hey, yo. I guess we don't really know why he tied her up and left her there, but at least we're back to get her. Oh, moving locations. Okay, I guess. So now he's on the run. He's got Faye Dunaway as a hostage. So yeah, she's gotta be some kind of here. Let's get I don't know, without spoiling this. Let's see if we can get a title at some point and see what we missed here, because I guess it might tell us a little bit more when she's introduced. Wait a second, what's her name here real quick in the film? Kathy Hale? Okay, wait, so let's double check and see when he meets Kathy Hale. Oh, Joe Turner, a bookish CIA agent, codenamed Condor, works at the American Library Historical Society in New York City, which is actually a a secret CIA office, I think is what it's trying to say. The staff member examined books, newspapers from around the world to compare them to actual operations or to find ideas. Turner files a report to the CIA headquarters on a thriller novel with strange plot elements that has been translated into several languages despite poor sales. As Turner leaves through the back door to get staff lunches, armed men enter the office and murder the office staffer. So that's when they get the secretary in the office chair that we were making fun of, and the guy with the wig when he's laying there and his hair falls off. But returning to his coworkers, unalived, he grabs his gun and exits the building. He contacts CIA's New York headquarters in the World Trade Center from a phone booth and is given instructions to meet Wicks, his head of department, who will take him to safety. Turner insists that Wicks bring somebody familiar since he's never met his department head. Wicks brings Sam Barber, a college friend of Turner, and is also a non-field CIA employee. The rendezvous is a trap, and Wicks attempts to kill Turner, who wounds him. Before escaping, Wicks kills Barber and eliminate a witness and blames Turner for both shootings. Okay, so that's the guy that didn't move that we were talking about as well too. Later, Wicks is killed by an intruder in his hospital room. Oh, wait a second. I don't know if that's happening or not. If we missed that, that might be a spoiler. Okay, Turner encounters a woman named Kathy Hale. There we go. And forced him to take her to an apartment. He holds Hale hostage while he attempts to figure out what is happening. Hail slow trust her, and they become lovers. Oh, that's where the scene is headed. Hey, yo. So wait a second. This is just somebody he just kidnapped off the street? Hey, yo. So I don't know if this is the most age well plot of the movie. I mean, shout out. We love that they were thinking of, casting Faye Dunaway in a role. But I mean, I don't know if she kind of got the short end of the plot here for what's going on. I guess again we have to continue to see because they're leaving it a little vague. You imagine that, if, and I don't know again if this is the influence of this movie, sort of how their relationship works out, maybe influences the other relationships that happen in these type of action thrillers as well. But if there is some sort of romantic involvement, of course, the romantic interest is probably either going to end up, dying at some point, just in some kind of, I guess, I don't know if leverage play is the right word, but some kind of final act moment. There's going to be like a sacrifice or a death involving them, or they're going to turn out to be, working for the other sides in whatever capacity that could be. And again, maybe it results in them, just getting whacked at some point. Anyways, pause. But they're either, of course, they die on the good guy's side, or I guess they die on the bad guy's side. Is I guess what we're saying is the outcome for him at this point. So I don't know if, again, having never seen this before, is Faye Dunaway gonna... This is gonna be R.I.P. Faye Dunaway as well, too, at the end of this chat, just for this movie character? We'll have to see. I guess, is there a 4 Days at the Condor? It's like a second version of this movie where they reprise their roles? I don't know. Oh, it is based on the novel 6 Days of the Condor. So if they did 3 days, they a couple more movies here, chat. 3, 4, 5, and 6? Maybe it's some TV show episodes. I don't know. But it doesn't say that they reprised their role in any other thing. So, ooh, the film was nominated for Best Film Editing. Ooh, chat, very well edited. I guess, yeah, the cuts have been pretty pristine, chat. I don't know. It's obviously pretty well put together. But, yeah, I guess, shout out. We were trying to redeem this plot line, and someone's like, okay, she's, like a spy, or I don't know, some just leverage that, again, maybe got to take precaution or whatever, but maybe there was some necessary steps that need to be taken in terms of the spy realm. I don't know, but yeah, it does not seem like that has been the case so far, outside of basically maybe to just get this kind of cover on the movie as well too. Faye Dunaway and Robert Redford in the middle of a coin with the sights pointed on them. So again, shout out, high intensity, I guess, situation. We'll justify. It seems like a tricky sort of plot point here to try to execute as well. But I mean, shout out. So again, and now that she's back in the movie as well too, now that at least she's been promoted past hostage, now we can actually maybe get some scenes out. And then well, it's obviously. I guess just have to get past this lover scene, chat. Hey, I don't know. Do we fast forward, IT? I guess we'll just have to let it play out. But, maybe we'll actually get her in the movie as well, too. Because I guess up until this point, she's been in the movie. I guess we can't necessarily say that, she's been in the movie. I guess this is the first time we're getting scenes and lines and them actually acting against each other. So, Redford is... throwing 150 right now. I don't know if Dunaway can, really, I think she's just, it's Redford, chat. What are you going to do? I don't know if, anybody doesn't melt at Redford. Like what type of person wouldn't melt if Robert Redford obviously is just talking to him this passionately? I don't know. But if you think there would be anybody with some kind of strength, maybe it would be Faye Dunaway. I don't even know if that's, that's a compliment to have strength at the moment. So, chat. It is what it is. Are we going play-by-play for this? Or are we going play-by-play for Storm versus Aces? I don't know. Maybe we just have to quick pivot to the basketball games for a second. I don't know. Let's see. Timestamp is an important time in the game. 5:40 in the second quarter? It might have to be, chat. I'm not exactly certain. They did just go... Seattle did just close it to within one, though, as well. So, 31-32. I guess the score... It did seem like, where the Ace is going to push it there a little bit. It is what it is. Chat, why is Rem stammering through WNBA coverage? Well, obviously, maybe we just probably don't watch as much WNBA, but also, Faye Dunaway on screen. Hey, yo. it is what it is. So, you just do the best you can, chat. You try to stay professional and remember basketball analysis, and just be like, yeah, 3-pointers, free throws, pick and roll. It's all important, but it does become a little bit more random in terms of how to put the pieces together to execute actually in a real basketball game. So this is why, I guess we are not necessarily at the pro level. I don't know. But yeah, shout out of course to anybody in the Aces in the Storm right now, chat. It is what it is. It is what it is. Dodgers Phillies? I don't know, do we have to just pivot over to a baseball game or something? We don't even know baseball. As well, we should have watched this when there's a football game on, chat. Oh no. Should we have watched college football in 3 days at the Condor at the same time? Do we need to see if we can find the Bryce Underwood highlights from this past week? That could be a nice little offset as well too. I mean, chat, we've got peak saxophone going in the background. We need to bring back saxophones in movies, chat. I know that sometimes there's a little bit of a is this always perfectly executed? But I think when it is it's top tier, chat. It's top tier. You gotta love it. So, shout out, of course, any scene 70s 80s. You do have to have like the post scene, chat. You got some kind of like coffee cigarette situation. I guess we got him sort of recapping the events of the assassin, the guy dying again, like we said, that wasn't moving around, wasn't running when Robert Redford was taking off running down the street. He's rerunning those events in his head. Oh, chat, a good artist, Ayo, is able to resketch out a lot of the scenes of the day. A couple of important questions as well too. But impressive drawing. I don't know if that's actually Robert Redford or not. If he was like a secret artist, or maybe not even secret, but just like an artist in some capacity, that wouldn't necessarily be the most surprising. He's like, I have to get my doodles on screen. I doodled out the front of this library. It looks exactly like this. Like, can we work this into the movie? Like, I guess he's gonna be taking notes about it there. But yeah, of course, like we're saying, over just to the great combination of cigarettes and coffee. So just the whole. I don't know if that is the perfect trio, chat, but maybe we're going to make it the perfect trio. That needs to go back into movies in 2026. Saxophones, cigarettes, and coffee. Bring them back, chat. Hey, yo. There's been a distinct lack of those two things. And I don't even know if it is, it's not like they've updated it. It's not like, the modern day Robert Redford would be ripping a jewel in 2025. It's just like, it's just not there. So, there is some, when your movie stars, chat, are able to kind of go in and out in the smoking scenes. I think they are important movie star things. I think it is an important movie star skill. I don't know if all great movie stars are great smokers, but I think it is pretty close. Actually, I think, is it the Rewatchables? Is it Tom Cruise that they say is a notoriously bad smoker? Anyway, I guess we're gonna have to go back and re-listen to see if we can find it. But and the Storm have the lead now, 37-36. But Tom Cruise would be one where I think a hot take. Tom Cruise is a good actor, obviously, but he is, of course, like, never has he won an Oscar. I guess if he has, it's been a minute, and is a little bit more at this point as well too, with the way the career has played out, known for some of the more genre stuff instead of necessarily the like the acting type performances and going for the awards in the same type of way. But regardless, I think it is a good skill for the on-screen guys to have. You gotta be able to have it in your bag, chat. It's a definite movie. It's again, both ways, all the way around. Anybody, you gotta be able to have that. You gotta be able to have a good movie star presence while smoking cigarettes to be top tier. Is at the last tier. We're gonna have to look at Pacino. We're gonna have to do a little more Pacino study. See if we can find some Pacino smoking scenes in some movie. I don't know. We can go back to Sea of Love and see what's going on there, because that one is out there, chat. We could rent that one too, but that one's out there. You can find that one in a couple of places. I don't know if we should start talking or not. and get it taken down. But if somebody goes out there for taking down the pirated seal of, like, what are we doing, chat? We gotta better things to do, I think, or maybe not. Honestly, maybe focusing on pirated movies is a good use of our time right now. I honestly don't know, but either way, I guess Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway both, I think, obviously, and it's the 70s as well too, so maybe it's more just, is it a 70s skill? But again, that's like this is the movie star era, 70s, 80s, 90s, basically up until the last 5 years, movie star era. As well, so as like we're saying, smoking goes, movie stars goes. I don't know, but there is some kind of correlation there. I don't know. Was Swayze a good smoke? Costner, again, like we're saying. I don't know. These guys seem maybe like they. I guess like Denzel, you don't really see him smoking on screen, but you just assume that the man's a great actor. There's nothing that the man can't do, of course. So, I would assume it would be, good. I don't cancel us, roast us for saying what you want, but I'm just saying, as an actor, seems like a skill set that he could be able to pull off. So I don't know, chat, where we go in from the sort of post planning, start to put the pieces together halfway through. It feels like in the chase movies, the political, again, there is sort of the initial chase. You got to find out, and then maybe you sort of turn the tables a little bit and then kind of go back after the people that are chasing as you kind of figure out what's going on. So I don't know if we get the sort of go back after. Oh, no pen that doesn't work. I don't know why that would be. Oh, chat, let the guy in the house. Okay, sneaky move. Follows right behind him, closes the door. Oh, I see. I mean, you got to know right away, chat. You got to know right away that guy is up to no good. And honestly, I think Robert Redford... Oh, he did realize it. Okay. Good. You got the hot coffee used as a weapon. Robert Redford, quick on his feet. I don't know. Again, CIA here, so I don't know if he's supposed to have combat training. It does say in all the plot stuff, again, it highlights bookish. It's like, it's got to remind you that Robert Redford's like supposed to be a nerd, I guess, in this movie. It's like, okay, the supposedly incapable Robert Redford, but then he's able to like think of throwing a hot pot of coffee and pushing the table under this guy. And this guy feels like, was there makeup done on this guy, or is that just, again, shout out his face, but we got peak villain face for this guy right here. I don't know if he is a sort of, again, shout out to the rewatchables of that guy of the time, and there's just other movies that we're not thinking of that he pops in as well. But he does have a very suspicious, if he shows up on your set, you're like, something is about to go wrong. Oh, chat, Faye Dunaway trying to step in and save the day, and she does. Just gets enough of the attention diverted to Robert Redford, gets the weapon and is able to eliminate the attacker. So everybody, between the two of them, they make it out okay. I guess, again, I don't know, maybe if she is, if she is going to potentially turn on him at some point, and that is a plot twist, then, she's obviously really committed to the bit. She's okay to maybe, I don't know, sacrificing her own teammates, or she's like a third party extra group involved. There's some extra motives that we don't know about yet. I guess still we don't really know the motives or who's chasing him, because I don't know if we've gotten a scene about that type of stuff yet. Again, it's been basically him running, and he kind of just started to put the clues together after, he a little interaction with Faye Dunaway there. So maybe that was, now it's like, oh, the clues, they're falling into place. What happened? But now we're getting a phone number out of this guy's pocket. So yeah, now we're starting to collect information. The book smart Robert Redford took him an hour of running around, but now we can finally start to put the clues of this together. And Vegas reclaims the lead, 42-37. So this is going to be a difficult battle here in the second half. Again, the Storm fighting for their life, and they're a vet. I think they did end up with the number 2 pick in the draft, I think, via some trades and stuff. I don't know if that's a player that has, I guess we could look at the roster and see if that's a player that's necessarily been an impact, not non-impactful, but is that like their second or third best player this year? I don't think so necessarily. With Goombawale, Gabby Williams, and is Skylar Diggins still there as well too? So, you still got 3 sort of veteran players. There is a little bit of a win now for this team, or, win over the next couple of years anyways. I don't know what the timeline is exactly. But, I guess, maybe not win now, but the urgency in an elimination game would be a little bit more extra for them than maybe some other teams with some younger talents. Chelsea Gray, is that another 3-pointer? Hey, yo, chat. I think, 7 points is the majority of that from behind the 3-point line. So she hasn't necessarily made a ton of field goals, but still some pretty killer shots. I feel like the other one was at the end of the first quarter, maybe. And 4 assists early on as well, too. Perfect playmaking. Oh, is that Diggins stepping in with the steal and the 3? Whoa. So less than a minute left in the first half. And she steals the inbound and steps right into a 3-pointer, 42-45. Oh, man, chat. 13, 3 for 3, and 3 assists. Oh, response 3 for the Aces is not able to go. And Williams pushing it right now is, Diggins attack and draws the foul. I was going to say, defense was able to make a stop. But Williams pushing. You got Diggins scoring off of that. And then, of course, Agubike, like we're saying, as well, too. So a big 3 that is definitely going to compete the entire time. So, again, to go back to Condor, that, I guess we should say, we know that this is obviously an inside job, not because maybe they've said at this point, but, again, the kind of access and just general moving around, if they're pursuing Redford, if this was if it was obviously just an outside group attacking the government, there'd be extra forces chasing that group as well, too. There'd be like 3-4 chases going on. So the fact that it seems like, again, limited sort of, the fact that everybody's actually going after Redford again. Maybe the twist is Redford is, is just like a no way out, Redford's the spy situation. I guess that is on the table as well. But this movie, again, has been such a big influence that I don't feel like that type of thing would be a common twist. Like the protagonist on the run the whole time would actually be the bad guy. But, maybe. Maybe it's a little, maybe it's 75, 3/4. I don't know. But halftime ends at a 1-point game. Vegas 45, Seattle 7-0 run in the first half, 44-45. So, like we were saying, I guess, experts, I don't know. But just, I guess, from the 2 minutes of actually it being close, we figured, hey, this could probably stay that way for the entire game, right? So it has so far, 45-44, second half, Asia Wilson maybe going crazy. Could be the thing that separates. But, again, Gray as well, too, has been the, sort of pick the spots big-time performer that they needed in this one at times. So I don't know if, again, the only Oscar that this movie actually ended up getting was the film editing one. So I don't know personally what other awards he was able to accomplish. The Cecil DeMille, that is the outstanding contributions to the world of entertainment. Yeah, that's like the Lifetime award. So wait, he got that in 94? That might be a little early for, I guess, Redford, but he had been around at that point for a while. So I guess, he was, however old he was in Captain America, he would have been almost 80 at that point. What, like 79, 78, 79 in those Captain America movies? So he looked, I don't know, 60-some maybe in those. So I guess he's just always going to look maybe a little, it's like, can't just give him the Lifetime contribution based on looks. I guess, at the time, it's like, oh, well, the Lifetime is where it's at. But I guess in 94, again, right off of Indecent Proposal, like, I don't know, I would see maybe a little bit early for the Cecil DeMille for our guy Redford. But in terms of actual awards, oh yeah, Sundance, him in Sundance, very popular, very important with that and the independent film movement as well too. But list of awards and nominations, Best Director in 1980. So wait, he directed Ordinary People, directed by Robert Redford, his feature directorial debut, and he won Best Director. 1984 was nominated twice for Best Picture and Best Director for Quiz Show, and was nominated for 7 Golden Globes, winning 2 for Inside Daisy Clover, New Star, Year of the Actor, 1965, Ordinary People as Best Director in 1980, and One Season Beat the Mail in 1994. So two Best Director nominations. I guess a Best Picture with Quiz Show, and then a Best Actor. Hey, yo, Chad. A Best Actor and a Best Director nom. That might just be what, him and Costner? I thought, did Costner ever get nominated for Best Director? I guess Costner directed movies, but did he direct? What was the Dances with Wolves? I think he did direct that one. So wait, let's see. I guess since he's not a multiple time, we'll just have to double check. I guess here the easiest way to do it would just be pause to double check. Dances with Wolves. Yeah, filmed by Kevin Costner. So did he win or just get nominated? Maybe the film got nominated. Maybe he didn't get nominated. I don't know. Oh, Best Director. Yeah. 1-7. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted, Best Film Editing, Best Cinematography, Best Original Score, Best Sound Mixing. So this movie is basically, I guess any of these movies, we were just saying for Best Director. But I guess Quiz Show would be his Ordinary People. I don't know. But the Best Director, Best Actor combo is a tough one. I guess Bradley Cooper, would he have a Best Director nomination? Did he get nominated for Maestro? I guess here, let's just scroll through because we can keep thinking of guys. But we can just see the list of names as well too. And I guess, like, did some of the older guys do the double duty in the same type of way? Like, was Frank Capra in movies? I guess he doesn't have really actor listed on his resume. Or like George LaCava. Like, I don't know who the actor directors are at a certain point. So wait, let's maybe just start newer and see what we have. I guess Tarantino doesn't count because again, Tarantino, I guess he's not nominated for Best Actor, so that would really be what we're counting. It's not just guys that have acted in films, and also got nominated for Best Director. So Peele, I know Peele never actually got the Best Actor nom, but you know, again, with them being such sketch show being so good, it wouldn't necessarily be surprising to say like, oh, there's an alternate timeline where Jordan Peele went into acting and got nominated for an acting career as well too. You could definitely see that. Oh, Mel Gibson. Okay, so Mel Gibson, Jordan Peele, Kevin Costner, and Robert Redford is basically the list at this point. I don't know who after that would be in contention because those names do sound right. Oh, Clint Eastwood, of course, has to be nominated. Clooney got nominated Best Director. Good Night and Good Luck. Wow, chat. Shout out to Clooney. I don't know if Spielberg has done a lot of acting over his career. Sofia Coppola, is she? And yeah, she did some acting, I guess. Won 2 Academy Award, 2 Golden Globes. Is that directing or acting? Wait a second. We need to go into the acting career and see what's going on here. Double check. Okay, wait a second. Directed? Oh, these are all directed films. Yeah, acting roles is what we want specifically. Oh, in The Godfather, uncredited. I guess The Outsiders, uncredited as well too. Maybe some of the more famous ones. And Star Wars: A Phantom Menace in 1999 as well. So I guess not a ton in terms of acting, but around a little bit for sure. And then mostly, you know, making the career notable as a director. Wait a second. Oh, no. M. Night Shyamalan. Michael Mann, no. Sam Mendes, no. John Madden? Best Director, Best Coach? John Madden directed Shakespeare in Love. Cameron, not really in acting. And Mel Gibson did win as well, too, for Braveheart. So there's Redford for Quiz Show the year before. Eastwood winning for Unforgiven in 1992. So yeah, Costner, Redford. Oh, shit, I'm already going to forget the other names, but we read them off. And you know what you guys all remember what it was there. Bradley Cooper and Mel Gibson. Is that the list? Those 4 guys. So those guys are Best Actor and Best Director noms as well too. I don't know what that would say about their just overall sort of ability in the film industry. Obviously, it's great. I've always, Jamie Foxx always been talked about one of those like guys that can do anything, and that's one of those guys that I always hold in my mind is just like who is just one of the most versatile. Like put him in sort of any creative role, and just you're gonna the most the likelihood of great success there. I feel like he definitely has a great baseline for the most variety of things, but to have the director thing in there, I don't know. Jamie Foxx got a Best Director nomination at this point as well. I don't even really know what his directing career would look like as well too if it has happened. Again, we'll definitely pay attention to the acting career, but I don't know if we've missed on some of the directing stuff or not. But that would be a fun one if he was just like a great director as well too. It's like this Jamie Foxx directorial debuts getting nominated for an Oscar. Oh, and Peele was the other guy that we were saying as well too has to be given credit in that type of way. Construction workers, chat, telephone workers. I don't know, Redford. Oh, intentionally picking up a suitcase. Okay, so yeah, he knew that those guys needed to be in the mix in some ways. So yeah, now he's on the hunt, chat. We've got him starting to make moves. He's going out. We got him on the search for some information. Can we get a name? Can we get a number? He hasn't necessarily had to start like beating guys up at this point. He's still able to kind of just talk to them and see what's going on and rationalize it all out. But we'll see if he has to use his fighting skills once more, because again, they're pretty good, and the stunts were good in this that little interaction he had in Faye Dunaway's place. Not the interaction, the fight that he had afterwards was a nice, it was one of the most well choreographed fights ever. It wasn't necessarily a ton of moves, but it was a couple of fun, again, little sequences there with him using some of the surrounding elements to defend himself as well. So how did he get Sadow's? Oh, so he tracked down Sadow's number, chat. Hey, yo. So I don't know if Sadow knows it's him, and if that's what he intended was for him to find it at some point. But I think that wait, Sadow's on to something. They both are like, are they queuing up both recorders? But like, who can out-record this phone conversation? I guess I don't know if that is them, kind of being the person they don't want to be. But again, I guess we don't even really know who the bad guy is or what the motive is at this point. Again, we probably have just missed it. But everything is being vague to the point where it's going to be either something so crazy or something that's not really, that much to live up for it all. But again, it's edited well enough to get an Oscar. So there's something here that is more so than just fun performances and, interesting story in some parts. Like as a film, again, the entirety of this one lives on, and you would need a strong ending for that to be able to work. So Redford on the phone, the Sadow. We'll see if he's able to, I guess, turn here and then maybe make his way toward him, because there's going to have to be a final confrontation in some type of way. And maybe Faye Dunaway does make it out of this movie, chat. Hey, yo, it's not looking too bad now. She's not necessarily like a I'm going to follow you around in the mission type. That's definitely a type that we get in these action movies. The I got to be involved in every dangerous scenario. You got to take me along person. And that's sometimes that's fine. Again, we got to get you sometimes as many scenes as possible. But other times, practically for the mission, it's like, hey, maybe this is a better solo one-person opportunity, or, just going to be, as many as the highest level of trained people in this opportunity. Like, I don't know, but that is definitely a person that can be in the mix. The notepad fills up for Redford, chat. He's getting a little bit closer. Oh, redemption on the helicopter landing. Oh, he's a little bit closer this time. He still overshot it to the right, chat. Hey, yo, now we know the form. We know how we need to correct the form. He goes, and I guess with the way he's landing, he's going long. Pause. But we're getting closer. A better nighttime landing than a daytime landing is crazy. I don't know if the lights on the yard are able to actually make the circle more visible. Maybe in the daylight it's like too washed out. He's just kind of guessing on where it's at. But much better attempt on the second landing Hopefully, every time we watch this, he gets a little bit closer. Maybe he'll be able to actually land it at some point. But at least for now, it is not a bad start. So wait a second. What are the dimensions here? They're trying to find a guy. We've got him searching for a height weight scenario. Lucifer? Who's Lucifer? Oh, we got the car bomb going off on some kind of Volkswagen Bug. I don't know what this infrared camera situation is here. Is like someone going to emerge out of the fire? Termination freelance. Agent G. Jobert. Confirmed by case officer S.W. Wicks and assistant L. Lloyd. Chat. So those are the guys from earlier. So is this the inside starting to be uncovered? The telephone company is now a little bit of a major player as well too, because again, he got the suitcase out of the van. So now he's wandering into the television company. Do we have to update real quick the plot just to make sure we're still caught up, chat? Hey, yo, we need like a Reddit post explaining the movie to make sure we're still locked in. So yeah, wait a second. Okay, so Hale slowly comes to trust Turner, and they become lovers. Turner visits Sam's apartment, where he encounters Jobert, a European who led the massacre against Turner's coworkers and had disconnected Wicks from life support at the hospital. Outside the building, Jobert tries to shoot Turner, who manages to escape, but Jobert discovers Turner's hiding by tracking the license plate on Kathy's car. The next morning, a hitman disguised as a mailman arrives at Hale's apartment, but Turner manages to fight and kill him. No longer able to trust anyone, Turner plays cat and mouse with Higgins, the deputy director of CIA's New York division. With Hale's help, Turner abducts Higgins, who identifies Jobert as a freelance assassin. Oh, chat, I think we might be in the abduction right now. Okay, so that's okay. We need to know what's going on. Anyways, and I guess Jobert, freelance assassin, so that means it's not an inside job, or he is, saying that to try to set him up, or he is a freelance assassin. He's not telling him who hired him at that point, because I guess freelance assassin means he has to have a hiring person, right? A freelance assassin doesn't mean somebody that just randomly freelance assassinates people. A freelance assassin is, an assassin for a free agent assassin all the time. All-time assassin, all-time QB. Like, he doesn't play for one specific team, just whoever pays him the most. So who is paying Jobert the most right now? Is it the U.S. government? Is it some other agency? Is it a private man? Is it maybe just some own personal motivation and the prize at the end of that, whether financial or some kind of emotional payoff, is potentially worth it as well too. Asia Wilson up to 16 in the first half, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 6 for 8 from the field. And thankfully now, to start the second half, the Seattle coach has to do that interview with the earpiece in as they go out to play. Because, again, Becky Hammond, we don't really want to involve, bother her in any type of way while she's coaching, but at least earlier in the game, the better, versus, again, not necessarily like 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. Okay, Coach Quinn from the Storm, let's hear from you and see what your game plan is. You let him coach, but still, the earlier to get that out of the way, the better. So yeah, just bring back sideline reporter. 2 quick questions before, 1 quick question. Maybe just change it to 1 question, 1 really thoughtful question. I don't know how that works, but yeah, I like that a little bit better. Let them get off the court in between timeouts, in between possessions, and tell you nothing about the team. And I get they might randomly have to call out something while they're mic'd up, but they also know as well too, so they're not going to be fully stupid with what they reveal from time to time. And speaking chat, Ayo's Faye Dunaway, we've got a little outside cigarette situation for Faye Dunaway. Looks like we got a little 5 o'clock shadow situation for our guy Robert Redford. I don't know how much time has passed here since he was in and out of the hospital, or in and out of the telephone company there, running around. But the little bit of scruff starting to pop in is, Redford, of course, already a 14 out of 10. But Redford, 5 o'clock shadow? I mean, how many points, Chad, is 5 o'clock shadow done right? How many does that add? Or take away? I don't know, Chad. I don't know if there's controversial opinion out there. I don't know what the times are saying about, the short, stubbly face hair these days, but maybe on Redford, it doesn't look too bad as well. So Vegas early bucket right away, 49-46. And I guess Gabby Williams is pointing away. Excuse me, chat, for this team, because she does initiate a lot. She is responsible with bringing it up and setting up the original part of the offense. It's a nice little drill pull up there by the Storm, able to keep it within 3. But again, you do have Diggins there as well, and I just don't know, setting her up to score off the ball, if that is something you want more than her trying to create on the ball as well too, because maybe she's trying to create for others instead of for herself. And again, she's still scoring enough, but maybe if she actually still even scored more, it would be extra crazy. But yeah, Wilson, she had a little bit kind of slow to get back up to the surface. Ooh, kind of landing right on that elbow there is tough. Fortunately, it looks like it's probably going to be just like a bruise situation. Not a Khalil Mack elbow, that's for sure. The recovery time maybe a little bit different, seeing as how she is right up to the free throw line. Again, 29 in game 1, 16 in game 2, and again, 7:43 left in the second quarter. So on pace for gotta be about that much, or some version of a really close performance to that as well. So I don't know, is this a telephone company with all the clocks in it? We just have a cut to all the world clocks, and you'll pause, all of the times and cities that are represented there. Some more people on the phones with each other, starting to get into the same rooms and plan and try to capture everything out. And I feel like maybe sometimes some of that stuff can be where some of the extra minutes land, but with the stat cast like this, and with some good writing as well too, some of these extra scenes are not too bad, as long as it is all under if it's generally under a 2-hour thing, you're probably doing the right thing with a lot of the stuff on the cutting floor there. So missed free throw by the Aces, chat, could have pushed that to 5 with that one there. So now with Gray at the free throw line, they will try. Or sorry, not with Gray, with it is what it is. With one of their players at the free throw line, they are now up by now that 5-point mark. And back on the other end, that's Asia on defense, slowing the drive, not getting the block, but the contest definitely shakes off the defender. The little pump fake, rip through, 3-point drive into a post up by Asia. Asia versus Ogumake. She's got the matchup, and they don't call the foul, but Ogumake with the good defense forces the turnover and the loose handle from Asia. And now going back the other end, they draw a foul. Hey, yo, chat. Maybe they do want like we're saying, once it all works out for how the season should be played. But, let me catch. Jesus, chat. Hey, yo. Max von Sydow, gripping performances. Not the yawns based on that. It's just, it is what it is. For, I guess, time of night. It is here in the Midwest. We're old men, chat. Hey, yo. We just gotta get to bed. It is what it is. No nap today, so more yawns during the live stream. Oh, and now Redford has turned the tables. In the chair, the gun on whoever the person is, I guess we just asked who this guy is as well too. It's not the assassin. It does kind of look like you could get them confused. It's not Sydow. So you could of course I forget why we were saying it wasn't even not Sydow, but it doesn't matter. Redford's got him where he needs him to answer the right questions now, hopefully, at this point. So, do we get some kind of, at least, motivation for what's going on? Deputy Director of Operations? Was that his spot, or something that he was setting up? Something to do with the Middle East. Maybe Redford's able to get a plan, maybe not. Not the best interrogator by any means. I don't know if this guy looks the most terrifying. I think maybe just his general sort of age and just Redford looking more physically dominant would be the scarier things. More so than, you know, him just there. But not a lot of acting from this guy as well, too. Just looks so really stunned. I keep thinking, is the TV frozen? But no, he's just looking at Redford, completely blank face. Plus, I don't know if that is him just thinking that, you know, I also have great eyes. Like, this guy's got some crazy eyes. Like, I don't know if he's thinking, you know, we're going toe to toe here with the looks, or, you know, I'm like miles above you as an actor. I don't barely have to, you know, try to do anything to be an actor. Pause. I don't know, whatever. But there is a little bit of a lack of energy in this scene. Is he just gonna like die of a heart attack? It seems like he's like on the verge of just cardiac arrest and just seizing up. So I feel like Redford's gotta, you know, maybe just make a decision here on some kind of, maybe handicap him and just cut one in the foot. You just gotta slow him down, get him some thinking about something else, keep him upset. I don't know, but 8-0 run by the Aces over the last 3 minutes, 55-46. So a stop and a score with a chance to go up double digits. In the block is the first part, but the putback is good. So 48-55 now for the Aces. So as long as we keep looking away, they're fine. Oh, there we go. Jackie Young for 3 is clutch. So 58-48 on the final tally. And this guy that Redford's got no security, nobody watching his back. We finally have a guy that wanders in the office to put him, you know, stick him up. Hey, yo. Like, don't move. I got a gun pointed at you. Sadao shows back up. Okay, I didn't see what Sadao there for a second, but he is back. So maybe that's why that guy was not necessarily too worried. He knew Sadao was going to be in the mix pretty soon, and he's in on the plan. But regardless, he does save the day, and oh! Sadao just takes, you know, one right to the temple. Pause. Right for that guy, I should say. Sadao is still okay. Sadao's the one that pulls the trigger. But our, whatever sort of Secretary of Defense situation is, he is now RIP'd in this one. It is what it is. I don't know why Sadao is staging this to look like it's self-inflicted, and then, because he did, again, he was able to get a pretty clean look at the temple. The guy was sitting down right in front of him, so it's easy, just reach over and pop. But I don't know why he's cleaning up the space around him, because, I mean, that would still be there, right? I don't know. I don't know if we even need to think about that, but regardless, I feel like if you're trying to stage the crime scene the right way, you know, toweling off the chair post this guy knocking his noggin out, like, I don't know if that's necessarily the most accurate depiction of what would happen in the area. But Sadao, nonetheless, at least, you know, continues to eliminate his problems here. For some reason, though, Robert Redford's still alive. So either this is peak just, you know, main character energy here, or they're really going to hold out Sadao's scheme until the last final minute. Okay, so he didn't send the mailman, but he did know the guy that sent the mailman, and it was part of the bigger plan in general. And I guess for some reason Redford really only wants to know about the mailman because he was attacking Faye Dunaway's place, is probably the main reason. He's literally asked about nothing else, but he's like, hey, that mailman, by the way, you know, where's he from? Because that was uncalled for. But now we're in a classic, I guess, demand, let's move locations. Is this a, I need to move you before I shoot you? Is that a crazy chat? That's wow. That's a pause. That is what it is. But, you know, maybe it's just like, okay, we got to head over to a different locale real quick, just to make this staged into something else. So I guess Sato kind of knows something's up with Dunaway and Redford as well too, because it's the first thing that he asks about. He's like, "Hey, what's going on, Faye Dunaway? Single? Is she available? You guys talking?" Because I feel like Sato is probably about to make a play as well too. Make no mistake, you don't think that top button can go unbuttoned for Sato? 2 buttons deep, 3. Maybe Sato's 3 buttons deep at some point. Hey yo, who knows? If we could talk him into it, that would be, you know, an ultimate highlight for sure, for sure. So I guess this is not necessarily like a funeral setting. It does look like a little like a cemetery type place. But I guess just his house. I guess it's a cemetery because, this guy's going around murking everybody in this movie. But it's not. I don't see any, public gravestones. Public gravestones. I don't know if that's a thing, but I don't see any gravestones from the mass public out here on the property as well too. But perfect vibe, perfect aesthetic. If that's what was trying to be captured in this scene, I mean that's exactly what it feels like we are at, sort of situationally, in the movie. Even though it might be, a totally different scene, totally different premise, totally different stakes than what that type of scene would be in a normal movie. He is still blending it with his style and making it work for what these people want. And I don't know if Redford was is he a guy that gravitated toward those twist type endings? Or did he play it a little more, traditional, not basic sort of storyline, but, kind of everything works out and the guy walks away as sort of the likable hero of the movie? I don't know. So maybe that's why this is, amongst sort of the most fun swings that he ended up taking. But Sato with some just quick philosophy, real quick. You're never there's never not time for some philosophy in a detective movie. It is what it is. You gotta just really appreciate, of course, the commitment to the books and the smarts. But I guess, wait, is this the last scene? Hey, yo, chat. So are they going to make it out alive? I guess we're going to have to recap the end here and double check. We're getting better, hopefully, at watching along and trying to follow plot points and make sure, I guess not just for movies in general, but surprisingly, there's a reason they don't like you talking through movies, chat, because surprisingly, it is difficult to pay attention. So we're still getting better at talking through a movie and paying attention to it. But it does seem like Sato is in cahoots with Redford. He just gave him a weapon and told him to run off. Hey, yo. So the tables have turned. He doesn't want to kill Redford, or, it's all these people were in on Redford or corrupted and he was doing him a favor or something like that. And now Redford is going to go and finish the job. Hey, yo. Because, again, we did see the names of those people, the some of the cop stuff from earlier, like we were saying, or whatever that unit was for those people in the hospital. Like, they were seeming to be on the wrong side of some moves earlier. But Higgins now being called over for Redford in the middle of the street. Again, middle of the street scenario. I don't know if he necessarily pulls the trigger here, but he is threatening. He does mention that, he's got the piece on him, chat. He's got the 4-pounder in his lap. Don't try nothing funny. Redford is stay a couple steps in front of him. Is locked in here to end. So I don't know if these people are with. He's got a car around the corner. Are they with Redford? Is Redford having to navigate a couple of different factors at this point as well too? Oh, the guy waves him past. So we don't. Oh, chat, we're invading? Of course. He's uncovering secret plans. So wait. So I'm assuming that the plans, obviously, that Redford was messing with, then were too close for, like, real life at some point in the simulation stuff that they were looking at. Hey, yo. So, classic, chat. I mean, the sort of political we go in and destabilize and all that different stuff. I mean, it never, it always feels like a plausible. I mean, because it is like literally what's happening. But you get, do the exact details of the way it's executed in movies always makes sense in terms of, it's like, okay, the premises are there. It's always, yeah, you know what? I could probably buy that from the government. There's a good chance that that is exactly what they're doing. So again, we'll double check and make sure that we understand. But seems like maybe we understand. Redford? Boy, what is it with you people? I don't know. Is that the line? Is that the line of the movie, chat? It's simple economics. It's oil. 10 or 15 years. Food. Plutonium. Maybe even sooner. Hey, yo, chat. This is when you know the movies are cooking. When the lines are like, oh, wait a second. Was this made now? Is this still relevant today? Is this hit home still? Is it not even just in terms of, again, the writings and the top? I mean, again, some of this stuff, it's impressive when, there's some things, of course, that are bigger than just, there's like the basic human things that can be translated into this, artistic stuff all throughout time. But, some of these, the way, of course, maybe some of these specific things about, our relationship, again, to these kind of controlling governments and stuff, like maybe, of course, the specifics between ours and the, our own is specific to our relationships and the time that, we're in and, whatever the history of this country is. But regardless, again, that sort of vibe as, good guy, I guess bad guy, sort of shady versus non-shady element of a movie is, like when the relevancy stuff of that is still hitting and impressive, that is, a lot of times, it stands to show the quality of the movie and why they were so highly regarded back in the day. But he's going to expose him to the times. Classic. Shout out. I mean, Redford's always, I guess, got a, or not always, but in this case, shout out Redford gets to be the bigger man. So I don't know if he's got, you got a sniper on Redford in this moment or something. I know Redford says he's got the 4-pounder on him. He's got the Colt 45 in the pocket. But you imagine maybe, a couple of Secret Service guys around. I know he already waved the car away. So Redford disappearing into the crowd. So did Redford just go from bookish CIA agent? Then is he just like a full-on Secret Service guy, like a secret agent guy now? Just can disappear in the crowd, complete, tracking, invisibility skills, complete fighting skills as well. So, or is he just going to wander into the newspaper and expose the story? I don't know. But regardless, chat, they're corrupt. Of course, shocker. Every time. And I think in some ways, they're probably still a lot of things hit home. So, R.I.P., of course, chat. The legendary Redford. And great movie as well, too. Obviously, we could always do a better job paying attention. But like we were saying, obviously saw a lot of those elements that were influenced and you could see repeated throughout, movies of a similar tone like this. So let's take a quick break and then we will be back to put a bow on the show, chat tonight, and, once again, the honoring of the life of the great career of Robert Redford. The end of the show, chat, right after this. All right, chat. Before we go, of course, R.I.P. the legendary Robert Redford. Great movie. Shout out Faye Dunaway as well too. Everybody else involved. But there is a debate we do have to settle. That I don't know if it's a full-on debate quite yet, but it is, more of a comparison that I think could maybe lead to a debate if things start to happen. And we were mentioning Joe Burrow's injury. I guess Sunday, maybe a little bit earlier as well too. Just Burrow in general, but. Of course, the comparisons that he is drawing in terms of a very talented quarterback that has been suffering early on in his career from the fact that the offensive line has just, not quite been able to get him the protection that he needs. Of course, the obvious comparison, as you would imagine, would be our guy Andrew Luck. And I was thinking about, again, I guess we were doing legacy stuff earlier as well, too. Kind of Josh Allen and Lamar versus Moreno and Elway. So a little bit of a different tier if we're comparing Joe Burrow to Andrew Luck. Again, I think currently Burrow is, we would imagine talent-wise right there with the best quarterbacks in the league. I don't know, putting all the pieces together if he is like, if the gap again between like him and Josh Allen is the same as, Andrew Luck and John Elway per se. But I do wonder, what the consensus would be for who you would rather build your team around if you had a choice. Because I do think that, again, sort of the peak Andrew Luck football player, I know we never got to see the full on what could the ultimate version of the playoff impact be and him surrounded by the best guys. And I know I was seeing some stuff about, is the offensive line pressure from the Bengals worse? Like, I don't know exactly what the comparable stats are. But I think, again, Luck with some of the, like, actual, not, the actual, but because, again, I think sort of football IQ with the quarterbacks right now is a little bit just underestimated with the focus on a lot of the two-way stuff. But Luck did have a football IQ, just a playbook thing that it was almost like, I don't know if photographic memory is like the right term for it, and I don't know, maybe it's just us not, again, I don't want to say it's us not reading those things about Burrow because they don't exist. Again, it's just not us maybe hunting them down and finding them and them being our algorithm that right type of rate. Like, we just haven't seen those articles. But again, that's what makes, Burrow obviously a football IQ guy, is those articles for sure. But again, I think maybe even Luck's durability as well too, not to say that, again, he was a guy that didn't end up getting injured. But I think because he was not just the more sturdy player, and he did, again, have a, of course, disastrous, offensive line at times. But there was a little bit of Andrew Luck maybe being a little creator as well, too. Like, I think Burrow can definitely, maybe underrated, get into, holding on to the ball a little bit too long, and they do have very vertical receivers, so there is a part of trying to let some plays develop as well too, versus just the offensive line always being the most tragic thing in the world. But it's obviously maybe a little bit more closer to that than not. But again, Luck is a little bit looking to extend some plays, and he'll, because of his physicality, be willing to stand in the pocket a little bit longer. But I think if he was playing with the right coach to speed the offense up in the right, just enough in the right way. And then, of course, if the offensive line was able to get good with the rest of the team around him, then, his production, obviously numbers-wise, could easily match Burrow. I guess 47 and 40 is, and then 40, basically 46 and 40 his last year as well, too. So he's basically fourth. I guess he was 3,800 yards in 2013. Close enough. So wait, his averages, first 17 games for his career, about 10-7 for a record. So, not necessarily great. That 2-5 is really going to hurt him there. But 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, 16 picks. And Burrow had made a Super Bowl as well, too. So I guess if that's important, maybe we have to throw that into the mix. Burrow's about 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 11 picks. Also about 10-7. So they literally have the same stats almost, per season averages. Burrow is at 68% completion percentage. Meanwhile, Luck is at 60. So there is that. But again, I think maybe Burrow is getting it. Getting it out a little bit quicker. But rating for Luck 89.5. I guess Burrow's rating, because that completion percentage, is going to be higher for sure. Let's see what we got here. 101. So I know Sam is definitely going to take Joe Burrow in this conversation if we were to ask him. So we'll just assume and not ask him next time. And maybe there is a possibility where it picks Andrew Luck, but he's definitely going to pick Burrow. But I think if you put Luck on this Bengals team, I don't know, Chad. They're definitely not. They're obviously not worse, and you would think that, I don't know, is his ability to just kind of be around in those games. Because again, he didn't stay healthy as well too, so we can't necessarily like put that in as like, oh, he's gonna just be healthy every year despite what the offensive line is. But there is a little bit of him overcoming that feels a little bit more like a thing that could happen compared to some of the other quarterbacks as well too. And again, just him kind of always living up to the thing. Like Burrow definitely got to that level, obviously, by the end in college with, arguably the best season a college quarterback has ever had, going number one and then, living up to the hype, making a Super Bowl as well too. But Luck just had a little bit of a different hype to him the entire time, where he was always kind of the golden child prospect in a way, and again was always delivering as well too. And unfortunately, ran into Tom Brady in the playoffs. I know some of those games were not necessarily great, but I don't think that 14 team was like stacked as well. So he had, I guess, some playoff interceptions were tough, but Luck was a little bit like he could have, a game where he's throwing 3 picks and 2 touchdowns, but both of those touchdowns were in the fourth quarter and like game-winning drive type stuff. Like you can't always look at the interceptions for Luck as well too. Like literally in this one with the 7 picks again, he had, I guess, a fourth quarter drive in that as well too. It was 13. I guess 13 was 13 or 14 the game against the Chiefs. I don't remember exactly which year that was for the playoffs. I love, I guess, that both of them, he did have more interceptions than touchdowns in both of those playoff runs. So 13 was the year they got to the victory over the Chiefs. And unfortunately, the Patriots' losses were not super close. Baltimore lost 24-9 against the Super Bowl champion Ravens, Chad. I mean, there you go. That's just immediately, like, of course, best team in the league. Essentially, that defense locked in. Flacco balling out. He took down Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady in that run. And I know, again, Peyton Manning, when he's still playing good on the Broncos. Obviously, Brady as well. And then, Kaepernick at the peak of his powers. Like, that's a really good 4 quarterback tandem. Obviously, we got to give, shout out Flacco, his credit for that run and that Ravens defense. But again, they lost to the Super Bowl. So Luck lost to the Super Bowl champions 2 years in a row, essentially. Oh, they lost the next game to the Broncos, chat. Oh, okay. So then that potentially is out. So they did lose to Brady twice in a row. Got the win versus the Bengals, got the win versus the Broncos, and then, again, disastrous versus the Patriots. So that's tough. It continued the lineage of just Colts quarterbacks getting destroyed by Tom Brady in the playoffs. But again, Burrow's got Mahomes as well. So I don't know if Luck stuck around, if he would have gotten the win over Brady in the playoffs and made the Super Bowl. I don't know, because they were 8-8. They were definitely trending backwards a little bit. But like we, of course, have always been thinking through this entire run. Like if only we had Andrew Luck, like all of our problems would have been solved. But it would be pretty close. And with the way the team has gotten better in the offensive line around it, like there's some teams where you're like, I don't know. Andrew Luck on this team right now, are we the best team in the AFC with the quarterback? Now that I say that, we're gonna lose the next 4. And I've definitely jinxed it. But, again, we played well through the first 2 games, so maybe this is the time to have those type of thoughts. But, again, I think the Luck versus Burrow thing, that's a close one, chat. That's a really close one. And, of course, I'm just going to be biased, but I think that maybe some of the it sounds like Collinsworth here trying to make this argument. I feel like some of the mobility stuff that Luck could have, and, again, Burrow's definitely, like, the deep ball stuff is all, like, I'm sure all the Burrow numbers are better. Again, that completion percentage is there. But I still just have a fourth quarter sort of Luck can find a way to get it done element that, to be honest, I don't know if there has been a quarterback. I guess, wait a second. What Luck was, that was 2012 draft? So if we went 10 draft, like the last 15 years of drafts, like I don't know if there is a quarterback that has the fourth quarter thing outside of Mahomes. Again, that Luck has. And Josh Allen's definitely getting there with one. If Josh Allen again gets a playoff run or even like a conference championship run where he gets past Mahomes to get to the conference championship, like if he loses to Lamar in a conference championship, then I guess we're like, oh well, it's Lamar's turn then, or it is what it is. But that type of just mental superstar trust factor, I still think he is the number one quarterback. And again, I guess the playoff stuff was still not even that great. But I know that, and again, we've had obviously, like we're saying, great quarterbacks with those guys in the mix. But Mahomes has been so good at the past handful of years, and then Brady in the NFC was still dominant as well too. And I guess we're not even giving Hurts credit for the fourth quarter stuff. I guess I was thinking more first round guys as well too. So yeah, it would be like Stafford, I guess, is now in that conversation in 2009 if we go back one more year as well too. Last 16 years, I guess, of drafts. But that's crazy. Stafford was 3 drafts before Luck, 4 drafts before Luck, and is played way past him at this point as well too. So that's unfortunate. Again, I'd go back and take I guess 5 years of Andrew Luck versus all these years of Matt Stafford. I don't know, Chet. Hey, we're just biased toward Andrew Luck. It is what it is. We don't even have hard feelings toward it. Pause. Maybe it's a good thing. But, again, maybe like the Kawhi situation is one that's a little still like, I don't know. Kawhi Leonard maybe not like in the Ring of Honor in San Antonio yet. But Andrew Luck, it's like, obviously that guy. Shout out. Indianapolis legend. Is he GMing over at Stanford now too, I think, with the NIL stuff? I don't know. There is some stuff, I think, maybe with him in the mix there as well too. But yeah, it would be like we were saying, I guess Mahomes, obviously number one, he's got the Super Bowls, guys drafted. Then for me, I would go, I guess Hurts won a Super Bowl, so we can't disrespect Hurts. But I don't know, Luck is as much as we love Hurts, like Luck is objectively just a better quarterback talent than Hurts. But Hurts did win a Super Bowl, so I think you got to say him as well too. So Mahomes, Hurts, Andrew Luck, and then Burrow. But if I was going personal fourth quarter rankings last 15 years, that would be it. Or I would switch, I guess, Hurts and Luck. And I would still be okay with taking Hurts over Burrow, though obviously I would get the Burrow arguments, But again, these guys are in the league at the same time, and Hurts has a Super Bowl, so I would be okay with it. But last 15 years, I would go. I would take Luck. I would take for a drive, fourth quarter drive. I would take peak peak Mahomes, peak Andrew Luck. Then I guess now we don't need to say, but now we can just I guess Lamar or Allen. It doesn't necessarily have to be Burrow at number 3, but just for the comparison of those two guys, I guess that would be a way that I would still take. That'd be still a scenario. Pause. That I would choose Andrew Luck's play style or player over Joe Burrow's, but the career stuff as well too. As long as if Burrow were to for some reason this offensive line did get better and he was able to have a couple of healthy seasons behind him, then maybe he is actually able to put together a much more substantial career than Luck. But at this point, against literally every year, and the offensive line gets no better. And I know it's going to be more what do the Bengals do with Burrow? But I don't know if we could necessarily write Burrow off for requesting a trade as well too. Like, I know that that's not necessarily a quarterback at the peak of his powers with, weapons that he likes with the receivers there and with guys that, they made concessions to keep those guys around as well too. I know that, again, that's kind of costly to what is leading to maybe the offensive line stuff. But, and I don't know if Burrow can request a trade with the way that they've managed to keep some of the certain guys around, but also, again, it's sort of straddling that line of being a cheap team and not necessarily investing in the other parts of it as well too. I don't know if that's fully on Joe Burrow in that sense, but I would not necessarily. I would not be surprised if maybe in the offseason, if this continues to go really, if this is like, he's gonna get the surgery, he'll be okay. But if they're just like 500 team when he's back and the pressure is still definitely there, and it's like, for some reason the overall score and stats of the team and stuff is one thing when Browning's in the game, but for some reason like the win percentage is not this really changing that much or whatever. Like, I could see a scenario where, again, Burrow's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe we need to find a better home. And especially if there's like a really obvious, again, I don't know, like if Indy, I don't know, again, maybe we like just start to lose a bunch of games and the pick ends up being way better and we don't like a guy in the draft and maybe all of a sudden, Cincinnati's going to make us trade like our next 6 first-round picks for Joe Burrow. But I'm just saying, like, that scenario could definitely be there. Maybe it's a team that has a quarterback as well, too. Like, Arizona's not, go from one cheap franchise to the other, so maybe not that. But I don't know, like, would it be like a Tennessee Cam Ward situation? Tennessee's got some veterans as well. They're like, oh, wait a second, our team played good. Like, what happens if we bring Joe Burrow in, or we compete for a Super Bowl? Like, could they start talking that way? And, I don't know if that's true, but they do have young offensive linemen as well. And that would be a really interesting trade, chat. I don't know if we just stumbled on one, but Joe Burrow for Cam Ward. Ooh. Cam Ward is rookie contract stuff. And again, with the injuries, I don't know at this point if Joe Burrow, if the offensive line has decreased his value to where some of those rookie contract guys would be more perceived as, team building friendly in that type of way, which would be crazy. Because again, at this point, obviously Joe Burrow is a much better thrower than Cam Ward. I know, Cam Ward has the potential to definitely get there, and it could be close, in a matter of weeks. Who knows? But at this point, again, Burrow's obviously established as one of the top guys. So I would say, if I had to choose, like, what career, I guess now ranking, like, what maybe career outcomes are there for Joe Burrow or, like, career next steps, it's obviously, play with the Bengals for, not necessarily finish career with the Bengals, but, play like prime through the Bengals. So it's like, okay, well, he ends up being there for like another 5, 6, 7 years. Like if he requests a trade like 7 years from now, 6 years from now, shout out for being around for, 7 more seasons like this. But, we're not, that's not necessarily what we're saying. We're saying like he's either requesting a trade in like this off season or in the middle of next season or something like that. Like request a trade, plays the next 5 to 10 years in Cincinnati, or I guess does retire. But I would put the retire one at third, and he has made, he signed a contract, he made some money, so I don't know what he is putting in jeopardy in terms of retirement, and there's endorsements and stuff. Like, these guys make so much money now, I get it, but I don't think he's leaving that stuff. He's not going to retire. I think Andrew Luck is wired a little bit differently in that way, and he's not really commercial at all, and I know Joe Burrow's a very private guy, but I don't think he's, again, as anti sort of out there at being the way that Andrew Luck is. But regardless, I guess if anything, if it's a fourth quarter drive and we have to take a quarterback from the last 15 years, Andrew Luck is still up there for being our guys. So we'll see, if Joe Burrow becomes the Andrew Luck of, Andrew Luck's. I don't know what the right quarterback 3-person combination is there. Pause. But hopefully there's still some other quarterbacks that Andrew Luck we can argue legacy-wise over, and it would be impressive. I don't know. Not to cut those other guys down, but just because we love Andrew Luck. Shout out. But that'll be the episode for tonight. Again, R.I.P. Redford. Shout out. Great career. Looking forward to digging back into that filmography. Some of the ones that we need to catch up on and getting those watched and saying that those have been, of course, something that we have been able to view. So shout out. Great stuff. Great movie tonight. Great episode. Twilight Zone, legendary actor, never disappoints. But, well, I guess, maybe fortunately, unfortunately, again, in a situation where we get to celebrate a life well lived, obviously, it's never fortunately, because the presence of the person no longer being with us is a terrible thing. But, it's the circle of life, chat. And, we get, of course, a guy lives a long and happy life. I think it's a good thing to, highlight a good career as well too. So hopefully in good taste we're able to say, again, shout out to the legendary Robert Redford. And you guys can of course be back with us on Friday night for the next live stream. You can catch the live streams up on the podcast feeds as well too, and you can send us a little message at REMINGTOM Pod on Instagram if you want to hit us at the DMs over there. Otherwise, go enjoy the rest of your night, and we will see y'all later. Peace.